here of this milestone of hitting 100 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Obviously, before I start taking questions, I want to give a couple thank yous out to people who have been with this channel for a long time and helped me grow this channel. So first, let's start with the moderators that are on here. Kaylee, Going Green Mom, LV, they've been around forever, helping moderate this channel. Lucky Dog Productions as well, helping moderate this channel. It's been great and amazing, and I'm super appreciative of it. Sorry, my computer's making noise here. Let me stop here real quick. All right, but now I'm gonna go way back in time. I'm gonna do thank yous and then I'm gonna jump into questions, I promise. And if you're watching this on the replay and you're just interested in cruise and travel questions, go forward a little bit. But I'm gonna give some thank yous real quick. So when I first started this channel way back in 2000, I actually started it in like 2016 or 17. I didn't do much. I just made a couple of videos of me traveling in France, and then went to New York and was a corporate lawyer. And then in 2019, I decided to leave my job and travel full time. So the first YouTubers that really gave me a shout out and helped build my channel, and by build my channel, I mean gave me 50, 60, 70 subscribers back then, but that was a lot, was Beer for Breakfast, the YouTube channel Beer for Breakfast. Those ladies are great. They have a phenomenal channel. It's one of the channels that motivated me to travel. The second channel was Story Chasing. So Amber from Story Chasing reached out to me, said she wanted to interview me, which was great. My channel was brand new. I had been watching Amber from Story Chasing, and she interviewed me, and that got me like 500 or 600 subscribers. And of course, my friends and family, too many to name. I was posting my videos on my personal Facebook page, and so my friends and family were watching. That's where most of my initial views came from. And my channel wouldn't have grown without them. I've been traveling for 4 years. Every year I travel a different way. Right now I'm living on cruise ships. The first year I traveled with Remote Year, and I traveled with the same 35 people for a year. We lived in a different country every 30 days. That's where my name comes from, 30 and a Wake Up. And those people were amazing. They supported my channel in the beginning. They were most of my views. After that was the van life community. And there's so many people to thank in the van life community. I already thanked Amber from Story Chasing, but the people at Storyteller let me take out a Storyteller van for a month, which was great for my channel. Also the people at Winnebago, they would share my channel because I was traveling around in a Winnebago Travado. A couple van tours that I did a tour of Kaz's Airstream. She's from Tales of Wonderlust. And that video is my most viewed video ever, 2 million views. So thanks to Kaz for letting me interview her. Bev from, Bev's channel. You guys all know Bev. I interviewed her in her van as well. And Mariah Alice, I interviewed her back when her channel had like 100 subscribers. Now it's got like, 200, 300,000 subscribers. But those videos did great things for my channel. After I left van life, I went to Thailand. A bunch of people to thank there too. Chocolate Man in Thailand, Greenie Travels, Thailand Digital Nomad, a ton of people over in Thailand. Forrest gave my channel a shout out and got me a Thai audience. And then when I came over to cruising, a bunch of people, Emma Cruises has given me shout outs on her channel. A ton of other cruisers have given me shout outs. Let's Go Travel Tips Facebook page, and also Let's Go Travel Tips YouTube channel. They were so gracious. Allison and Gordon were so gracious to let me post on their Facebook page, and that got me a ton of cruise type subscribers, people that were interested in cruise content. And the same thing with Cruises for Solos. Pete over there at Cruises for Solos let me post on Cruises for Solos, and that got me a huge amount of cruise audience, as well as Chili Falls from Chili's Cruises, interviewing me on his channel. Definitely helped my channel grow. But again, also the moderators. I just saw Kaylee in here. I'm sure Going Green Mom's in here, LV, all those people. So I just wanted to do that really quick. Thank my friends, family, and a lot of people that initially gave my channel shout outs when I switched genres. I did the worst thing you can do as a YouTuber. I kept switching genres, which is a terrible way to grow, your channel. But I wanted to give out a few shout outs. Also, Johnny's Journey, Call Me V, Van Vita Travels, so many other people in van life. I'm probably forgetting a lot of people, and I apologize if I forgot you. All right, now that I've talked a bunch, I will jump in the chat and take your questions. I see there's a lot of thank yous in here. Thank you very much for saying thank you. I appreciate it. And moderators, if I missed any super chats or anybody giving out memberships or something like that, let me know, because sometimes I miss those. Check out Gary Bainbridge. He will help the UK folks. Yeah, so I watch Gary a lot, actually. I'm hoping at some point to make his list of top 100 cruise-related YouTube channels. Now that I'm doing cruising, I know I'm too new to cruising to make that list yet, but hopefully at some point when I've done enough cruise content, Gary will deem me worthy, because I think right now, if he slotted me in, I'd probably be like top 15 or something, because I have 100,000 subscribers now. Maybe I don't deserve that to be in that group, but I am making a lot of cruise content, and some of it's getting some views. Okay, if you have a question, because there's going to be a lot of congratulations in here, please put question in all caps. And if about 2 or 3 minutes goes by, well, about 5 minutes goes by and I haven't answered it, please make sure you ask it again. There was a question in here earlier. Someone asked me, which side of the ship would I rather have my stateroom on, the port side or the starboard side? And the answer to that is, I don't really care. But if I had to pick, I would say the port side, because I like even numbers. So, and port side are supposed to be even numbers. They aren't on all ships, but they're supposed to be. Hey, Nathan J just joined Travel Buddies. Thanks, Nathan. I appreciate that. Let's Go Travel Tips is in the house. I said thanks for the shout out. No. Thank you for letting me post on your Facebook page, and I got your email too about the question I had about travel agent stuff. I appreciate you guys responding to me. But yeah, you guys right now, if you're in this chat, go over to Let's Go Travel Tips and give them a follow on their YouTube channel. They have 15,000 subscribers, which is actually a whole lot in the cruise genre, but they should have a lot more. They put out such good content, especially if you like princess ships. All right, if you don't know, I'm on the Caribbean Princess. I'm getting ready to start cruise number 2. I think, to be honest with you, I don't know what our itinerary is, but I think it's the Saints itinerary. I think we're going to a bunch of Saints this cruise, St. Martin, St. Thomas, all that kind of stuff. Last cruise, our 7-day cruise, we had 4 port visits. 2 of them got canceled, which kind of sucked. Didn't suck for me because I like sea days, but it sucked for a lot of people on board. Okay, if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, we're at 125 people in the chat. If you don't mind smashing it, I would greatly appreciate it. Tomorrow's video is going to be nautical terms every cruise passenger must know, and I think you're going to be super entertained by it. If you don't know, I was in the Navy for 20 years, so I'm kind of an expert on nautical terms, and I'm going to teach you a bunch of nautical terms so you can walk onto a cruise ship and be a salty sailor your first day on board. All right, here we go. Let's see. Call Me V says, so what is the next thing to cross off your bucket list? I'd really like to do an Antarctica cruise. I'm thinking about, Let's Go Travel Tips is on here, and I know they're organizing one. I don't know if the dates will work out for me, but if they do, I might try to tag along on theirs. I like tagging along on other people's group cruise. I don't like organizing that kind of stuff. I'm really bad at that kind of stuff, so I don't want to organize other people's stuff, but if I can tag along with somebody else's, I might. Where were those last October? That's a good point. Water was rough near Mexico this week. Yeah, so our port visit to Costa Maya got canceled, and our port visit to Roatan, Honduras got canceled. Hey, Go Small, Live Large. I forgot to mention Go Small, Live Large with van life. Obviously, we did a van tour together where we compared our Travado G and K. That video still gets a ton of views on my channel. I'm sure it does on his channel. So make sure you're into the van life stuff. Although, even if you're not into van life, he's a great personality. I've actually stayed at one of his Airbnbs, hung out with him at one of his Airbnbs, which is a gorgeous Airbnb in Florida down by Miami. I mean, it is gorgeous. The backyard of this Airbnb for Go Small, Live Large is epic. I mean, it is epic. bunch of congratulations. You practiced law. Where did you practice? I practiced in Washington, D.C. At first, I was a juvenile defense attorney. Actually, my last year of law school, I was temporarily barred into the D.C. bar, and then I moved up to New York, got my law license in New York, which I still have. I still maintain it. And I was a corporate lawyer defending mostly pharmaceutical companies. Ted says, comment on this, please. I see these last-minute cruises at good prices, but the airfare to get to the cruise port is 5 times more. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Maybe try a rental car or maybe Amtrak. Maybe it'll be a little cheaper. Let's see. Question, are you doing a transatlantic with Princess? I'm doing 2 transatlantics with Princess and a trans-Pacific. So 2 transatlantics. I'll be doing one in about a month and a half. That'll get me over into Europe. Then I'm going to be cruising around Europe a lot. And then I will fly back to the United States to see my mom for a week. And then I will hop on a 21-day Alaskan cruise. And I'll stay on that ship. And that turns into a trans-Pacific where we're going to go to Hawaii. And then we're going to go to Tahiti, Pago Pago, America, Samoa. And then New Zealand. And then Australia. It's going to be epic. I'm super excited about it. If you're just stepping in, if you don't mind smashing that thumbs up button, I appreciate all the congratulations on 100K. If you have any questions, make sure you type questions in question in all caps so I can see it. I'm using my phone, so sometimes it's not super easy to keep up with the chat. So if I missed your question, please ask it again. Jamie says, do you have any kind of sun protection routine? Yeah, I use SPF 50 on my face. I've had skin cancer actually on my forehead, so I'm very particular about that. Right now I'm in a shaded area instead of out in the sun. If I was out in the sun, I'd have this ball cap on covering my bald head. I also have spray, body spray type of tanning stuff, which is SPF 70, so 50 on my face. I should probably try to get some higher than that, but I haven't found any good face stuff yet over 50. Tony says, speaking of YouTube channels, go check out Tony. She travels around on her Travato as well. Are you going to pack around the world the YouTube 100K trophy? Yeah, so if you don't know, when you hit 100,000 subscribers, you get 2 things. You get a check mark, which it hasn't officially happened on YouTube's counter, so I haven't been able to get the check mark yet. Usually takes a couple weeks. And at some point, they're going to send me an email saying, hey, congratulations on 100,000, and then they'll send me a silver play button plaque, and that's going to go to my mom, and I'll have her take a picture of it and send it to me, and I'll post it somewhere. If you guys aren't following my Instagram, there should be a link to it on my YouTube channel, but it's just 30 to wake up. And that's probably where you'll see it. When did the 100K happen? It happened yesterday, as a matter of fact. I didn't think it was going to happen yesterday. I thought it was going to happen today, or maybe not even today. But all of a sudden, I started getting a bunch of people from Let's Go Travel Tips Facebook page and Cruises for Solos, because I had posted that I was going to be doing this live, and I was almost at 100K, and they kind of made it happen. So again, shout out to Let's Go Travel Tips, their Facebook page and their YouTube channel, and Cruises for Solos. Pete also has a couple YouTube channels. He has Passions for Cruises, USA, and also UK, but he's great as well. Doesn't sound like much of an award. I mean, you know what? I mean, maybe it's not that big a deal to some people, but to me it's a big deal. 100,000 was not easy. It took a little bit over 4 years. I think it took me almost a year to get 1,000 or something like that. And van life is where my channel really blew up. I think at the end of my world travel, living in a different country every 10 days, I think I was at about 10,000. I had one video in Malaysia that blew up, but van life is where my channel really blew up. And then Thailand, I probably got, 20,000 subscribers in Thailand. And now in cruising, I've probably gotten like 10,000, maybe a little bit less than that subscribers. So from a cruise channel perspective, I really don't have a ton of subscribers. Oh, look at that. LV knows when. LV knows it happened at 2:30. That's about the right time. I was sitting on the Caribbean Princess pool deck watching the officers versus the passenger volleyball game when it happened, and I was posting about it on my Instagram, like showing the countdown, like when I was at 9,996, 97, I just did a little countdown on there. Jason says, question, veteran here, wanting to try Princess. How do I get the military benefits? So if you just Google like Princess Cruises military benefits, there'll be an email and you just send them your DD-214. Takes a couple days, but make sure you have a captain's, even if you've never used Princess before, make sure you sign up for the captain's circle, I think is what it's called. And so they'll give you a little number and just keep logging in there and you'll be able to cruise like my account, and at some point it'll show up on there, and every time you book a cruise it'll just be automatic. Not a question, just want to say congratulations, says Cindy. How you doing, Cindy? I've got a lot of channel members in here. I've got over 100 channel members, which doesn't sound like a lot for a channel with 100,000 people watching, but I took a 6-month break where I didn't make any videos and lost most of my channel members, but a big group of them stuck around, like Cindy, like Kaylee, like Elvie, like a bunch. There's a ton. Tara, ton of channel members that stuck around, stuck with me. Melanie, ton of people stuck around, and I'm super grateful that they did. They probably shouldn't. I wouldn't have stuck around a YouTube channel that wasn't making videos for 6 months, but they did. So I'm super grateful to my channel members that stuck around. So shout out to them. My friend Andrea just stepped in here, who is awesome. She's amazing. So, question from Ruben: Where do you go to book after Cruise Plum? So right now, I'm just going directly to the cruise line website. I enjoy like searching for cruises. It brings me a lot of pleasure. It's a lot of fun, and so I don't mind booking it myself, and that's normally what I do. I actually just reached out to Allison and Gordon from Let's Go Travel Tips, asking them about maybe possibly working with the TA. I don't know if it's going to work out because of the way you have to do it. I usually just pay right there. I usually pay up front, but maybe I can figure out how to do that with them, because I'd really like to show them some thank you by saying, just give them my bookings if that's possible. But I do enjoy the hunt, like finding cruises. I love it. I love finding cruises, booking them. That's part of the fun for me, and all kinds of other stuff like that. Jay says, I never unsubscribed. I must have 1,000. I just forget about them. I appreciate that, Jay. Yeah, I get that too, because I'm subscribed to tons of people too. Tara's in the house. I just gave you a shout out. I don't know if you're in here, but Tara says, knew you'd be back, and also lazy about canceling things. Well, I'm glad you stuck around, Tara. You're one of my faves. You're one of the original channel members, probably one of the first 10 or something like that. Question, your thought on sailing on older ships like Caribbean Princess. I'm really enjoying it. I've sailed on 3 Princess ships. It's my least favorite of the 3 Princess ships, but I've sailed on 5 cruise ships, and it's my 3rd favorite, so it'll be above the other 2. The reason it's not above Sky Princess or Ruby Princess for me is a couple different reasons. Number 1, it doesn't have a topside running track, and I love that. I love going out every morning, watching the sunrise, walking around the running track. It doesn't have that up here. It's really awkward actually to walk around the top deck the way they have it set up. And they have like a children's area on here that they don't normally have that kind of breaks it up as well. And so that's probably the biggest reason. And also on deck 7, which normally has a way to walk around the entire ship on the outside, which it does on here, which is great. But the inside of deck 7 is has the casino right before the Princess Theater. And so you can't really walk around the inside of deck 7. So when there's bad weather and stuff, it really sucks. You have to walk through the casino, which is pretty smoky all the time. Even though only half of it's smoking, it's still smoky. And so those are 2 really minor things. But yeah, I would say it's my 3rd favorite Princess ship, and I've been on 3 Princess ships, but my 3rd favorite out of 5 ships that I've been on so far. So I like it, but it's not my favorite Princess ship so far. And I'm going to be on some more Princess ships. I'm going to be on an older ships than this one. I'm going to be on Island Princess, Grand Princess. I'll be on one that's newer than this, Regal Princess. I'm going back on Sky Princess again when I get to London. how has Wi-Fi been on the ships? It hasn't been very good on this one. It's been the worst on this one than any ship I've been on, but still good enough to upload some YouTube videos. Is that your hotel from the weekend in the background? Yeah, that's the hotel I was in the other day. That's the Hilton Fort Lauderdale Marina. It's expensive, but it's beautiful. Any long internet outages? Never any outages, but the speeds haven't been that great. About 3 down and 1 up, maybe. I'm on T-Mobile right now. I'm not on the ship's Wi-Fi. Please discuss along the way your Trans-Pacific to Australia. We will do that in the fall of 2024 and spend the summer in Australia. That'll be amazing. I was thinking about doing that in 2024 actually, spending the summer just cruising around Australia and maybe up to Japan because I do some of those. And then taking a Trans-Pacific back, so staying long enough to catch the one back. So, can I day trade stocks there? If you need instant transactions, you might run into some issues. But if you don't need them to be instant, like you can do a stock transaction and you're not okay if it doesn't execute within a minute or two, then you'd probably be okay. Do you have any other cruise lines booked? I have Norwegian booked, I have MSC booked, I have Celebrity booked, I think that's it so far. No, I had to cancel one because I got a really good deal on another cruise. Jay Mislin says, I'm getting ready to book my first cruise and need some help with choosing cabins. Any tips? I mean, I almost always sail inside cabins. This is my first time in an ocean view, which has been nice to have the light in the morning, but I wouldn't say that it makes me prefer an ocean view over inside. It just depends on what kind of person you are. I like the inside cabins personally because I don't spend that much time in my cabin. I mean, I have a balcony right here. I'm sitting in an area that almost nobody ever sits in, which just blows my mind. You can see it on the other side of the ship. It looks exactly like that. It's on the back of the ship here. There's the pool, by the way. I sit in this area every day, and there's hardly anybody ever here. So I pretty much get it to myself, even though this cruise was packed with people. I got this area to myself every day. I got it today to do this live stream. There's still nobody up here. I mean, there will be in a little bit as more people start boarding, but yeah. Question, what did you do yesterday to celebrate? Special dinner or something? I had pizza. That's how I celebrated. I've been on a pretty low carb diet lately, trying to lose a little bit more weight. Since I started cruising, I've lost 16 pounds, but I'd still like to lose another 10 to 15 pounds. So, forward aft deck. Where at? So if you're in the middle of the ship, which is called the midships, and if you watch my video tomorrow about nautical terms you should know, you'll learn that term. I would say midships is the best place to be, the middle of the ship, if you're susceptible to motion sickness. And the lower you are, the less movement you're going to get. So the closer you are to the middle of the ship and the lower deck you are, the less movement you're going to get. But remember, if you're on the deck right above deck 7, which is usually where all the action is on most ships, it might be kind of noisy. So, although I'm on deck 8 right now, and I haven't heard any noise, and I'm all the way forward where the theater is, I haven't heard any noise. But if you get on like maybe deck 9, you'll have that buffer of deck 8 between you, and then get it in the middle. You won't feel as much of the motion. It's not saying you're not going to feel any motion, but there's less motion in the center, right? You can see right here, if you're in the center. If you're over here, there's going to be a lot more motion. If you're over here, same thing, a lot more motion, right? So if you're in the center, there's a lot less motion, right? So a lot less likely to get seasick if you're susceptible to that. I like being forward or aft because if I'm aft, I can get to this place really easy on the stairs, and if I'm forward, I can get to the Princess Theater really, really quickly. So I personally like that. Hey, we got 180 people in here. If you don't mind smashing that thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. And if I missed your question, please ask it again. The chat is going crazy with well wishes. So have you switched to black coffee? I will never switch to black coffee. I like my fufu coffee too much. That's the only indulgence I have every day. Although sometimes I'll get coconut milk, which is pretty friendly, low carb friendly. So but normally I will get fufu coffee. But that's the only carbs I will do usually. What a pretty view behind you. Yeah, that's Fort Lauderdale behind me. So I actually think that might be, I think, is it Hollywood Beach? I don't know. I don't know what beach it is. I guess that's Port Canaveral, I guess. All right, again, if I missed your question, please ask it again. The chat is just moving crazy on me. Somebody says, found many great channels through Kevin, Amber, Kaz, Scott, Johnny, RV Life, Sebi with the credit card. Yeah, ask Sebi, I love that channel. Emma Cruises is amazing. She gave me a shout out the other day in her live stream, which also probably helped me get to 100K as quick as I did with this cruise content. I know it's not till next year, but have you thought about going on the lunar eclipse sailing on Princess? I don't even know anything about it. What the heck is that? What cruise ship is it going to be on, and when is it? I would definitely be down with that. Andrea says that's Fort Lauderdale Beach behind me. Okay, good to know. I've been window browsing some condos in between Fort Lauderdale and Miami as possibly home bases in the future if I want to continue to cruise, but also be close to two really good airports, Fort Lauderdale and Miami Airport. So I've been actually doing a little window shopping for small condo, small like beach type area condo. We've got 175 thumbs up and 193 people in here. If you don't mind smashing it, I appreciate it. If you're just joining this live stream, I gave a bunch of thank yous at the beginning of it. So just if you want to see those, rewind. Just hit 100K. I'm on Caribbean Princess, getting ready to go. I think this is my 10th cruise. It might be my 11th cruise since I started. We're going to do, I believe, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at the itinerary, but I think this cruise is a bunch of saints. I think it's St. Thomas, St. Martin. It might be Bonaire. I think I might be on Bonaire on this one, I think. Emerald Princess, April 2024, Panama Canal. That sounds awesome. That must be the lunar eclipse one, I'm assuming. Let's see. Did we just have someone join channel memberships? I think I missed a channel membership earlier, actually, now that I think about it. Let me see if I can, oh, there it is. Stuck in Florida. Thanks for joining, but I know you've been a channel member before, so welcome back. KMG, welcome to Superfans. Hey, thanks KMG, I appreciate that. All right, let's go travel tips. I'll send you a message. We have a group cruise on the Discovery Princess for the solar eclipse, but the ship is sold out right now. Okay, yeah, let me know about that. That's Let's Go Travel Tips, which I can't recommend highly enough. If you have not gone over there and subscribed to their channel, please do me a solid. If you like cruise content, and go subscribe to them. I will be forever indebted to them for them letting me post on their Facebook page, which got me a pretty good cruise audience. Hey, is that Danny? That's Danny S. So I met Danny on this ship here. So Danny's Canadian. He's on this ship here. Great guy, awesome. Is someone calling my name? I thought I heard someone say my name. Danny's on the ship, and he just filled me in with the itinerary because he knows it. St. Martin, St. Thomas, and Princess K. There we go. I haven't. Let's see. Have I been to all of those? I think I have. Yeah, I think maybe. Have I been to St. Thomas? I don't know if I've been to St. Thomas. Sapphire Princess, end of next month for 14 days out of Vancouver. That's amazing. Are you doing on Sapphire, I'm assuming you're doing Alaska trip, Peggy? Congrats, been a subscriber since your interview with Amber. That means, Maureen, you've been a subscriber of mine since I had well below 1,000 subscribers, like actually below probably 500 subscribers. So I appreciate you being here so long. Did the ships return to their departure area, or can we stay at a port of call and book another ship from there? Most ships do not allow you to get off at ports of call. Some cruise ships do, like MSC or something, but you have to book it like that, like embark, debark. That would be your debark port. But normally on a cruise ship, you can't just get off of the cruise. I mean, I guess you can. You're an adult. I mean, I don't know, how they would stop you, but I think that flags you on the cruise ship. I don't think you're supposed to. But I don't know. Don't take that word for gospel. Peggy says, yes, Alaska, my dream ship. You encouraged me to book. Thank you, Peggy. Peggy's been following me for a long time, too. Kimberly Downs says, congrats. Oh, the Master Cruiser, speaking of cruise ship people, cruise ship channels. Greetings from the Gulf of Mexico aboard the Allure of the Seas. That's awesome. I would love to be on Allure. Congrats on 100K. Love your cruise content. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is the year-long program you did where you worked worldwide? That was called Remote Year, Chris. $100K and everyone is saying your name, Kevin. Yeah, would you please do a video of Bon Air? We were there in December, but we may have chosen the wrong beach. Okay, we'll do. Will do. Although my port videos don't do very well. Everyone always says they want that and then nobody watches. Congrats. Love your content, says Jason. Thanks, man. Marcia says, congrats on the milestone. It's a major accomplishment. Thank you. Hey, speaking of that, we're only 6 thumbs up away from 200. If you don't mind smashing it, I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Nancy Ross says, Kevin, on Princess, you can ask for a route sector deviation approval, and then you can do it. We've done it twice in Naples instead of Rome, and Le Havre instead of Southampton. That's very cool. Thanks for answering that question. Will you go on a Virgin cruise? Yeah, Virgin only has 2 cruise ships right now. They're getting ready to have 3. I am 100% on board with Virgin's customer service model and the no kids thing. So I definitely will be on a Virgin ship at some point. Would you be willing to post more ship tours? So I haven't done that because there's so many good channels for that on YouTube that mine probably wouldn't be as good as theirs. Like Hard Travel, they do, I mean, his cruise ship tours are like an hour and a half long. They're so in-depth, they're great. I don't know if I would do as good a job, although I have been flirting with the idea of doing like 5-minute cruise ship tours or 10 minutes or less. Like something that's really, really quick and succinct, like this is what's on deck 4, 5, 6, 7, just hitting those spots for like 2 seconds, not walking around the ship and then skipping obviously the decks that just have cabins on them. So I've toyed with the thought of it, but yeah, that might be something I do in the future. Have you booked Antarctica? Not yet, but it's definitely something I want to do. What about South Georgia yet? No, I have not, but it's definitely on my bucket list. Also Easter Island and Galapagos. A question from Go Cherie blog. If you stay on board at ports, are pools and bars open or is everything closed? No, for the most part, well, all pools are open. The bars are open, food's open. Usually they close the casino because the ports don't allow it, and they close like the stores, places you gotta pay for stuff. But usually all the food's open, the pools, all that kind of stuff's open because a lot of people never leave the ship. They like, they cruise for shipboard life. Elvie says, I love your port Instagram stories. Yeah, check those out. If you're really into the port stuff, I do a lot of stuff in port when I'm on Instagram. If you stay on, I think I answered that question. And again, if I missed your question, please ask it again. Let's see. My chat's moving so quickly with all the congrats, which I really appreciate. I'm not complaining. William says, I started watching your channel at Van Life. Awesome. So you've been around a while. In New Orleans, cruise departure is fun. It's a journey down the Mississippi. That would be actually really cool. That'd be really cool to do a cruise down the Mississippi. And I was raised on the Mississippi. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and yeah, I was raised on Mississippi. Lived in Cape Girardeau, places like that along Mississippi. So I'd love to do a Mississippi cruise. All right, if you asked a question and I did not answer it, please ask it again. I'm all caught up on the chat, but I probably missed some questions. Woohoo, Amy says, watching from St. Louis. That's where I was born and bred, St. Louis, Missouri. Always have a special place in my heart. If you guys don't know, I'm in Fort Lauderdale right now. I'm on the Caribbean Princess. We're doing a turnaround day, and we're headed to St. Thomas. What was it? Right into Princess Cay, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. There we go. I love St. Martin, so I'm excited to go back there. Can you explain how to use Rakuten and book through cruise lines at the same time? So I've got a link down below. If you use it, they give you like 30 bucks. And for Princess Cruises and Celebrity Cruises and Oceania, I think, you get a certain percent cash back, and they'll either send you a check or they'll PayPal you the money. So you basically just go there to their website and it'll give you directions on how to put it into your browser. And when you go like on the Princess website, it'll automatically pop up that you're logging in with Rakuten and that your 1.5% discount applies, and you'll get 1.5 cash back. It's a really great tool. I've used it. I haven't got any cash back on that stuff on the cruises yet because they wait till you take the cruises. And so, yeah. But yeah, it's a great resource. I also have a link to Princess. And so if you click on that link, if you've never taken a Princess cruise, you click on that link, you'll get $25 off your cruise, but you'll, and then then you'll have Rakuten go up, and then you'll get 1.5% back on that cruise. If you do Celebrity, it's 2% now, but for a while it was 4% back, which was a great value. And I can't remember what Oceania is, but, and there's also like Expedia cruises, you get a certain percent off. I think that one's pretty high actually. Nancy says on Black Friday it was 12% off Princess Cruises, and on Cyber Monday it was 50% cash back. Man, I wish I would have had, so Andrea, who's on this chat, is the one that told me about Rakuten when I was on a cruise with her on Sky Princess. And if I would have known that back in the day, I booked so many Princess cruises, man, I would have had a ton of cash back. Kicking myself in the booty. Any plans to do a Mexican Riviera cruise? I did one already, Brett. Well, not a Mexican, it was partial Mexican Riviera. I did a 16-day Panama Canal cruise from San Francisco, and we did the Mexican Riviera. But yeah, I'll definitely do the Mexican Riviera in the future for sure. I don't have anything booked now at this point, but I will definitely be doing some Mexican Riviera in the future. A question, did you get the cruise line to recognize the stock you own? Yeah, yeah, it was pretty easy actually. I just printed out I downloaded the PDF file for my stock statement, and it shows that I own 100 shares of Carnival stock on there, and I just emailed it to the, if you just Google Princess shareholders benefit, you'll get an email address to send it to, and you send them. You put in the subject line your last name and your cruise number, your sailing number, whatever that is, and then you just attach that. And it was like the next day that it posted. It was pretty seamless actually. Question, I love that you are willing to explore all types of living situations. Since Princess is one of our faves, will Princess Line start to comp your cruises? That would be great. I don't think Princess is ever going to comp my cruises. I don't get enough views on my cruise content. I'm not like Emma Cruises or Gary or Lolita Loco, whatever it is, where I get a ton of views. So I think that's far in between. But to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't accept it because I don't want anyone to think that that's going to sway my judgment of things on board different cruise lines. I like to be objective, and I definitely wouldn't give any content control to any corporation. All of the brands I work with are usually affiliate programs. Like anybody can be a Rakuten affiliate. You can be. You can send your code to your friend. That's what Andrea did. She sent it to me. And same with Unbound Moreno. Anybody can go to them and say, "Hey, I'm an influencer. Give me a code." I don't work for them, so I only do products that I 100% endorse. So if I was cruising Princess for a long time and I really love the product, maybe I would consider doing that. But I probably wouldn't accept anything like that from them because I don't want them to have any creative control over my content. And I don't like having a boss. So, but I mentioned this before, I did some gambling on a cruise once, and I'm getting comped a bunch of cruises because of that. So I'm already getting comped by them for the most part. I paid for my cruises with Rakuten, but use PVP. I'm not sure what that means. So when using Rakuten, can you use your Princess Vacation Planner, or do you book directly? I'm not 100% sure about that, if you could do it that way. I always book directly, so still booking inside cabins, yeah, but on this cruise I got upgraded, Gia, to a ocean view, which has been nice. You'll see that in tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video is about nautical terms, but I talk about a bunch of things in my cabin that are nautical terms, and one of the things is the window in the cabin has a nautical term for it. So you'll see that in tomorrow's video. And if I ever sail with Andrea again, I'm definitely going to treat her to a couple meals at the specialty restaurants for that Rakuten recommendation. How did you get the cruise line? Oh, how did I get the cruise line to recognize my sock? Yeah, I just downloaded the PDF. All right, again, if I missed your question, please ask it again. It's hard for me to scroll up on here. How long was the waiting time for Ocean Now on Sky? How long was the waiting line for Ocean Now? I don't think it was that long. I can't remember. I'm on Caribbean Princess now, not Sky. I can't remember how long it was. I don't remember it being particularly long. Call Me V says, happy Easter. Congrats on 100K. Thanks, Call Me V. Make sure you guys subscribe to Call Me V. She does all kinds of good van content, but she also is heavily involved with a program that helps less fortunate people or handicapped people travel on cruise ships, which is good. A couple months ago, I donated $100 for it. I can't remember the name of the organization for the life of me, but if you go to Call Me V's channel, I'm sure you'll see a bunch of videos about it. But they've taken a bunch of people on cruises that couldn't afford it, or maybe are disabled and would have a tough time moving around a cruise ship on their own. And so it's a great charity type of thing to donate to. So V, if you don't mind putting the name of it, I would appreciate that, because it is a great organization. Helping Hands for Cruising, that's what it is. Helping Hands for Cruising, Helping Hands for Cruising, Helping Hands for Cruising. You gotta remember that. I'm so bad at remembering names and stuff like that. Can you explain the medallion watch? So it's not really a medallion watch, it's a medallion, it's just a medallion. Some people wear it on a necklace, some people buy the wristband. I bought this thing that hooks to my Apple Watch off Amazon.com. And so, sorry, I got distracted. Someone was talking about me down there. It's weird when people are starting to recognize me, and I'm not weirded out by it. I've met the nicest people on board here, a few on this ship, but it's weird from a macro perspective. But yeah, so if you want me to explain the medallion, so the medallion is great. It's basically,
I'm not sure I understand.
It's basically a GPS type of device on a ship that tells the ship where you're at. So they use all these programs to find you, and when you're when you're moving around the ship, like right now where I'm sitting, if I ordered a piece of pizza right now, I wouldn't have to go stand in the pizza line. Someone would bring it to me. If I ordered a Coke or some water or whatever, I order my coffee every morning from my bed. They find me with this medallion technology, so that's part of it. The second thing it's like your cruise card. It gets you in and out of your room, so it's much smaller than a cruise card, and you can just, it's a wearable, which is great. And your door just opens to your cabin. Most of the time you don't even have to tap it on the little indicator. It senses you, and it'll automatically unlock your door, and you can walk right in. It's great. Someone said order something. I'm not going to order something because I'm using my phone to do this live stream, and you need your phone to order something, but they use this to find you. That was Andrea that said that, actually. Where was I going with that? Yeah, you can do a ton of things with the medallion. You pay for things with your medallion. It just replaces your cruise card. Plus does a little bit more, and plus it looks really cool. You get it for free with your loyalty status color, but you can personalize it too with a zillion different things. Your favorite sports team, you can personalize it with your, all kinds of things. It has your name on it, and it has the ship you're sailing on and the date you're sailing. It's also magnetic, so you'll get a bunch of these little round things. They're about like this. It's kind of hiding it. It's really cool looking. It's this little medallion, and you can put them on your refrigerator as a refrigerator magnet, and it has your name on it and the ship you cruised on and the date you cruised it, and then however you personalize it. I have all the different colors of the loyalty levels I've moved up, so I have the blue one, which is the first color you get. I have the gold one, which is the second color. I have the ruby one, which is the third color, and now I have the platinum one. My next one will be elite, which is black, which I'll get at the end of my month here on Caribbean Princess. Whew, that was a lot. Okay. Oh, Kaylee posted a link to Helping Hands Cruising. Thank you, Kaylee. It's a great program. And I donated $100 to them last month. So great program. Hopefully I can get on a cruise ship with one of a lot of times they'll organize a cruise too for other people who want to go on that cruise. The cruise isn't comped, obviously, it's a normal group cruise, but they'll always have people that they're comping, which is great. Let's see. Do you have to compensate CO2? Do I have to compensate CO2 for your cruises? Do I have to compensate CO2? I don't know what that means. Do I have to compensate CO2? I'm not sure what that means. All right, if you have a question and I haven't answered it, please ask it again. Any plans to do smaller boats on this year trip? I was supposed to do a river cruise with my mom. I was going to take her on a Christmas cruise, but she didn't want to do a Christmas cruise. She decided she didn't want to do that. She'd rather go to Venice because she's never seen Venice. So we're going to go to Venice, and then we're going to stay like a week in Venice on the ground, on land, and then we're going to take a cruise ship, a transatlantic back to Fort Lauderdale, actually. I might be booking one more cruise for us. I'm still working on it, though. So we might do 2 cruises, which will end with our cruise back to the U.S. Oh, what's my carbon offset? Honestly, all I do is travel. I don't own, I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any cattle. So I'm not burning fuel in a car. I don't, no fossil fuels are wasted on me going into the protection of that car. So if you're asking how do I compensate CO2 for cruises, I don't own anything else. So all I do is cruise, and I haven't cruised for the last 4 years. When I was in Thailand, I traveled on a little tiny motorbike. When I was traveling with Remote Year, I lived in a different country every 30 days. And van life, I did obviously travel in a van, but I would usually camp for at least a month. So I actually didn't drive a lot. What ship is a Trans-Pacific cruise on? Grand Princess. Do you use military discount to book Princess? So Princess doesn't give a military discount, but they give you onboard credit. With NCL, I get a 10% discount, military discount. With Royal Caribbean, I get a 5%. With MSC, I get a 5% military discount. Princess gives you onboard credit up to $250, like a 14-day cruise like this, I get $250 onboard credit. Any plans to go back to Thailand, seeing you bought an expensive visa? Yeah, I mean, Thailand is always a place that I'm going to use as a home base. I have a 20-year visa to Thailand, and it's my home away from home. I will always go back to Thailand. I'll be back there in October, actually. Can you tell us more about Remote Year? So Remote Year is a group program. You pay a monthly fee. At the time I did it, it was $2,000 a month. I'm not sure exactly what it is now. And that included all the logistics of traveling with the exception of food. So it counts your flights, your lodging, a co-working space, because most people have full-time jobs or they need reliable internet, an excursion every month. And excursions are always pretty cool. What else does it include? Flights, lodging. It also comes with a person who travels with your group. So I had 35 people in my group, and that person handles all the logistics. So, you know, getting you and your luggage to the airport, getting you to your apartment. If a flight gets canceled, they handle it, stuff like that. And then there's 2 people in country. One's an operations person, so they handle like broken toilets and things like that. And the other person is an experience manager, and they handle like your experience in the country. So it's a local person, and they'll take you to all the places they like to eat, all the places they like to hang out, all the bars they like to go to. So you get a really immersive local experience. And you live 30 days in a country, and then you move to another country. It was pretty cool. I lived in 12 different countries during that year. It was amazing. And I traveled with the same 35 people. What made you pull the trigger on the 20-year visa? I love Thailand. I've been going to Thailand since the 90s when I was in the Navy. It's always something I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to come and go as I please, and now I can come and go as I please to Thailand. Some people will buy a $30,000 truck that in 10 years will be worth $0. I bought a $30,000 visa that in 20 years will be worth $0. To me, it's more valuable than buying a $30,000 truck. I'd rather, you know, I don't want a truck. I like having unlimited access to a country I love without having to worry about a visa. There you go. How did you get a 20-year visa? The Thai Elite visa can be purchased as a 20-year visa. Can you do Remote Year for 3 to 6 months? I think they do have a 6-month and a 4-month program. I think they actually have a 1-month program. I liked the 1 year because you form really close bonds with the people you travel with. You travel with the same people all year, so I personally prefer that, but I get why some people would want that kind of commitment. Look at all these people. There's a lot of people in the pool. There's supposed to be a ton of kids this cruise, which is not normal for Princess, but there was a ton of kids last cruise, and it didn't bother me. Did you get an ocean view for all 3 cruises? I got an ocean view I booked 2 14-day cruises, which is really 4 7-day cruises. So I had my ocean view for the first 14 days. I don't know what I have the second 14 days. I haven't finalized my cabin yet. I booked an inside cabin, but I booked an inside cabin this 14 days too, but they bumped me up to an ocean view. So fingers crossed I get bumped up again. Actually, I would love to stay in my same cabin. I hate having to move my stuff, but I'm actually gonna go down to the front desk once this cruise starts and ask if maybe I can get the same cabin. I'd probably be willing to pay for it if nobody's booked it next cruise. You should try to get some of your season 1 people to come on a cruise with you, says Melanie. Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Or how about this, even better? I'm probably gonna do Remote Year again in the future. My season 1 of travel was Remote Year. Why not get people from season 1 to come do Remote Year? That would be fun. Holly says, love your channel. Thanks for vlogging your experience. Thanks, Holly, I appreciate it. So Greer said spring break, that's why there's so many kids. Yeah. You know what's funny is, like, you know, when I was a kid, spring break was a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. I didn't realize that a lot of places do spring break at different times a year. And I'm like, I've been dealing with spring break crowds for 2 months so far cruising. I'm like, when the hell is spring break gonna end? When the heck is spring break? Are, are you allowed to leave remote year and come back? Yeah, you can do, I can't remember exactly what it is because I never did it, but you can pause it for a certain amount of time, although you still have to pay, I think, 50% of the cost because you're taking a seat away because they can only have a certain amount of people. I can't remember what it is though, and it's probably different now anyway. But yeah, some people do. I think you can do it twice in the year. Again, if I missed your question, please ask it again. After all these cruises, dude, still, do I do things like the Sanctuary, or are you kind of over it? Well, Sandy, I usually have a ton of onboard credit on Princess Cruises. So I spend it on stuff like specialty dining, foo-foo coffees, an excursion here or there, stuff like that. And sometimes, maybe I'll spend it on the Sanctuary, but for those who don't know, on Princess ships, they have an area on the front of the ship at the top deck that's kind of covered with all these like great places to sleep. You can get a massage up there. It's called the Sanctuary, and I think it's $40 a day or $20 for a half a day. It's great. There's a pool up there, but it's right before the Sanctuary. A lot of people think that Sanctuary pool, because it's called the Sanctuary pool, you have to pay for it, but you don't. It's part of the spa. A lot of people don't realize that. So that pool's adults only, and it's almost always empty, except for people who know, like veteran cruisers on Princess. But yeah, is the Wi-Fi reliable or spotty? I would say it's reliable, but not great. So I have not had any issue with Wi-Fi. It always works, but it's almost always super slow. I mean, I'm uploading YouTube videos at sea. Sometimes it takes 12 to 36 hours to upload a YouTube video, but I'm able to get it uploaded. You can pretty much watch Netflix really easy on your phone, pretty easy on your laptop, especially if you set the resolution lower. You can watch YouTube videos, especially if you set the resolution lower. But yeah, I mean, it's good, but it is not great. It is not super fast. It's almost impossible to live stream on it. But yeah, and I've been on a ship with Starlink, and to be honest with you, Starlink was no better than any other ship I was on. Maybe a little bit more reliable, but you almost always have internet. It's just not fast. Hey, we're at 200 people watching the live. If you don't mind smashing that thumbs up again, appreciate it. At the beginning of this video, I gave a bunch of shout outs and thank yous. If you want to know who I gave shout outs for helping me get to 100K, you can watch it at the beginning of the video. I don't want to go through all that again and bore everybody that's on here. I missed it. Remote year is what? So you can go back in this video, but remote year is a group travel program. You pay a monthly fee. They handle all the logistics of travel. The only thing that your money doesn't include is food. But if you want a real detailed explanation, go back about 10 minutes and I give you a more detailed explanation. Get remote year to sponsor you. Yeah, I don't really like doing sponsors while you're tripping, because that means you have a boss. I do affiliates basically. So like with Rakuten or with Princess Cruises, you can have an affiliate code with Princess Cruises. You can forward it to your buddies if you like Princess Cruises, and you'll get the $25 off your next cruise if they sign up and do a cruise, and they'll get 25 off their cruise. Same with Unbound Moreno. I'm just an affiliate. I don't work for Unbound Moreno. If their close started to suck, I would say their close sucks. I don't work for them. I just get a 10% commission if you buy anything using my code, and you get 10% off. But I have no formal relationship with them. I'm just an affiliate. Anybody can sign up and be an affiliate for almost anything nowadays. So I'm an affiliate. I don't work for them. And if their clothes went to crap, I would say don't buy from Unbound Moreno. Danny, who was just in here, Danny S., who was in this, I saw him and he said he bought some Unbound Moreno and he likes it. Although he said his has a little bit of fading, which that kind of sucks. What is your remote job? I am a YouTuber. Any age limit to participate in remote year? Nope. I know a guy who was 76 that did remote year, and I would say the average age is probably mid-30, around 30. The youngest person in my group was probably 21. The oldest was, I think he was 56. Yeah, I was in my early 40s when I did that. I was 42, I think. No, 43. Yeah, 43, maybe closing in on 44. People calling Craig says congrats on 100K. Thank you very much. Any age limit? I read that. How you doing, Yuki? By the way, it's 12,000 for 4 months. Yeah, I mean, the shorter the months, probably the more expensive it was. When I did it, it was 2,000 a month for 12 months, but that was in 2019 as well. Yeah, no age limit to remote year. If I missed your question, please ask it again. The chat moves kind of quickly, and I'm doing this on my phone, so I have to kind of go back and forth. If you're just joining us, I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I'm on board Caribbean Princess, getting ready to start another cruise. I bought it on Merino too. Had one shirt with defect stitches on the shoulder, so they sent me a new one for free. Didn't ask to return the old one. Really impressed with their customer service. That's awesome to hear. Why you tripping? That's really good to hear. I have contact with the CEO. I'm probably at least last year I was their top affiliate, and so of course he's been kind to me way before that, and he's just a great guy, and he really wants his product to have a good reputation. So if you ever have any problems and they're not helping you out, let me know and I'll send him a message for you, but I guarantee you they'll probably just take care of you. But that's great to hear. You had some stitching problems and they just sent you one for free without having to return the other one. I love hearing that, and I'm glad to hear it. Glad they're doing that. Can you do a demonstration of Ocean Now? I don't even know what Ocean Now is. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's the app, but is that the app? I can't do a demonstration. I'm using my phone. So I can't really do an Ocean Now demonstration because I'm using my phone. If you go to Cruising for One, just type in Cruising for One, all one word. He's actually on this cruise with me. Go to Cruising for One's YouTube channel, and I think he has an Ocean Now demonstration. He has a bunch of tutorials. That's not really my thing, but he does a really good job at it. So check out Cruising for One. It has a pair of flip-flops as his logo. It's a new channel, so it might not be super easy to find him, but maybe if you type in Cruising for One Princess, maybe you'll be able to find him a little bit easier, because he was on this Princess cruise ship this week, and he did a bunch of demonstrations for that stuff. But yeah, check him out. Do you let the cruise companies plan your air? No, I don't. I plan my own air. I have a ton of, if you don't know, I've been using a travel credit card called Chase Sapphire Reserve. I have a ton of points. I haven't paid for flights in 4 years. I just book it myself with points. I also have a ton of Southwest points. So when I'm in the continental United States, I usually fly Southwest and just book with my Southwest points. If not, I'll book with my Chase Sapphire Reserve points. So I do not book with the cruise line. The bridge is up. Yeah, there must be. Yeah, there's a bunch of yachts coming through. A bunch of yachts with high masts coming through. I don't know if you can see that right there. Yeah, they're coming out. That is really cool. That bridge has a really cool walkway too across it. It's really easy. I love how this area is set up. I've been looking at possibly buying a condo over here, not at the Hilton, but there's actually condos over here and there's condos over here for sale. And the studios are actually pretty reasonably priced, but the condo association fees are really expensive. So I'd probably have to Airbnb that thing. Do you buy your sunblock products on board? Yeah, sometimes I do, especially if I have a lot of onboard credit. They have Clarin on most ships, or Clinique usually, and those they make really good. Both those companies make really good face sunscreen. So a lot of times I'll do that. Is remote year a private room or shared? You always get your own room, but you're usually sharing an apartment with some of the people you're traveling with, and they rotate it every month who you share with. But if you don't get along with somebody, they'll work with you. But you can also pay a little extra, and you can get your own apartment. It's not that much more extra either. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I did it a couple of times. If you watch my Lisbon, Portugal apartment tour. I paid up for that one. It was like $100 or something, and more. And it was an amazing apartment and just an amazing part of Lisbon. Oh, there we go. There's a link to Cruising for One. Thanks, Kaylee. And he doesn't have a whole lot of subscribers, so there's 214 people on here. Click on his link, subscribe to him, say, hey, 30 and a Wake Up sent me over here to subscribe, and get him a bunch more subscribers. He does really cool tutorial type of videos for cruising, which is like really valuable. He's way better at that kind of thing than I am. Let's see. Question, do you buy your, oh, I already answered that one. Let's see. Question, what happens if you have a medical issue on a cruise ship? Is it expensive to use the clinic? I think it is pretty expensive. All cruise ships have doctors on board, usually multiple doctors, because they always have to have a doctor on board. And they'll usually have like nurse practitioners or nurses also on board, other medical care people, but I think it is pretty pricey to use medical services on board. I should probably like figure that out, talk to somebody, and maybe do a video about it, because I would actually like to know that too. Yeah, I do know they have medical services on board. I've never had to use them though. All right, I am caught up. Do you ever have leftover onboard credit? Andrea, who is my Jewish cruise mom, she's given me approval to call her that, so I'm not being disrespectful. I met her on Sky Princess. She's great. I always use my onboard credit. So I have not had an experience where I've had leftover onboard credit yet, although I do have a cruise coming up where I have like $800 and something onboard credit. When I have that much, I'll probably take excursions and eat a lot, but I never leave. I'm never leaving money on the table. That's just not how I was raised. That's like I never leave food on my plate. I'm never leaving onboard credit on a ship ever. That will always get spent. So. Is every cruise you book less than $100 a day? Ask Life's the Beach. So I would say 90% of them are 105 days, counting gratuities or less. I'd say 90% of them. I did book a studio on NCL Getaway, which is my next cruise ship, and that was $140 a night because those studios are not a bargain, even though you pay no solo supplement. But I wanted to experience one, and so I did that. I took a lot of I've spent time on MSC Meraviglia, and I'm going on MSC Seaside, and those I would say were probably $80 a night cruises. My cruise on Enchantment of the Seas was, I think, 90 something a night. So I've been able to pretty much stay under. Now I'm getting casino deals from Princess, and so now I'm at about $50 or $60 a night because you still have to pay port fees, taxes, and gratuities. And so those ones are about $50 a night. So if you haven't watched, I'll explain it really quick how I got those casino deals. So I was on a cruise ship. I shot a video where I was gambling on a slot machine with $50. I lost the $50 in about 2 seconds. Didn't think much of it. At the end of my cruise, I got a thing slid under my door that says I have $150 cruise credit or casino credit on my next cruise, which just happened to be Sky Princess. I went on Sky Princess. I got my $150 loaded onto my medallion. I went and I gambled it away. But I was playing the slot machines and I was doing max bet, which was like $10 a bet, which I guess is really stupid to do. But I won once, and I won like a jackpot that was a little bit over $1,000. And I just took that money and ran. But then I was watching other YouTubers like Para DJ, and they said Princess is really generous with their casino deal. So I figured, look, I got the $1,000. It's found money. Let me just gamble it. So I loaded it back on $1,000, and I was up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down on the. When you're gambling with that much money and you're playing max bet, you win some big pots, and then you lose. You win some big pots, you lose. You win some big pots, And so I was up, down, up, down, up, down. So I actually put a lot of money through the machine, but I ultimately lost it because that's what happens when you gamble, or at least what happens with me. I have no skill at all. That's why I don't play table games. And I lost that $1,000. So I'm down 50 bucks. Well, I get a thing slid under my door that says I have a $250 casino credit on my next cruise. And in my mind, I was like, well, that sucks. I lost $1,000 to get $250. I go over to MSC Meraviglia, and all of a sudden I get an email from Princess Cruises saying, welcome to the Princess Players Club. Please enjoy an inside cabin for $0 on us. I went to Princess's website, and just recently they integrated the Players Club discounts into the website, so you can actually see your discount in there. And sure enough, there were a ton of cabins that I can book for $0. And I needed to book some cruises anyway out of Southampton, and Sky Princess and Regal Princess are cruising out of there when I was going to be over there. And so I booked a cruise on Sky Princess for $0. All I had to pay was taxes, port fees, and gratuities. And also put down a $200 deposit, which you get refunded later as onboard credit. And I booked it, and I was going to book on the following cruise and just pay for it. Well, it was $0, and I was like, wait a second. So I read the fine print of the email, and it said you can book 3 cruises. So I booked 3 cruises, and then I could still book for $0. So I ended up booking 10 cruises for $0, just port fees, taxes, and gratuities, and a $200 deposit on each cruise. So it ends up coming out to about $50 a night. I know not everybody can do that. I feel really fortunate. I kind of fell into that luck. And then there's actually a guy on board here that has a YouTube channel called Cruising with Mark. And I started researching that, and he does a lot of videos about how to gamble on Princess ships and Carnival ships as well and get free cruises. I know you get them on Royal, but Royal gives you them at a certain point level. Nobody knows what that point level is on Princess, but everyone out in the cruise gambling community says Princess and Carnival are the most generous. And in my case, I've lost 50 bucks and I booked 10 cruises for $0. So yeah, I'd say they're pretty generous, and I can still book cruises. On this cruise, I actually got $450 on board casino credit. So of course, I went down there, I did my $450, I pumped it all back into the casino, and I was up some money, down some money, up some money, down some money, and got it to $0. We'll see if I get anything for that. They did send me, I told them not to send me any alcohol. They sent me some chocolates, and they gave me a free dinner at the grill on here, Chops Grill or whatever it's called. So I did get comped some stuff, which was great. Turn It Up World. Speaking of buddies, speaking of friends and channels you should check out Turn It Up World. We met when we were traveling the world. We traveled a similar way, and then we both went into Winnebago RVs, and they do a lot of Vegas content. And I was just talking about gambling, which is funny. They do a lot of Vegas content, which I love to watch. I don't like to gamble that much because I hate losing money, unless it's getting me free cruises. But our channels have kind of paralleled each other with the kind of content we create, and they just blew up because they put together some really great content on the Winnebago Echo, which is an awesome RV, and also their gambling content in Las Vegas is phenomenal. When I was in Vegas for a little while, I was watching their channel to get all kinds of hints of things to do. And now they're in that all-electric Winnebago, which is freaking awesome. Like, I'm like super excited to check out more videos about them. But I just saw that they stopped in here, and man, thank you guys for stopping by. Our channels are so connected in the way we cruise, in the way we travel. It's great to see you guys in here, and they're just an amazing couple and a lot of fun. And they have a couple different YouTube channels, by the way. Speaking of YouTube channels, some cruisers are in here, CME Traveling. They're great as well. Check out their live streams. I pop in their live streams all the time to say hi and just catch up on their cruising news. They're in the little cruising community, live stream, YouTube community. They're great. Andrea says she loses at the casino. Andrea, we got to figure out a way to get you to pump $1,000 through a machine and then get a bunch of free cruises. I'm not telling people to do that, by the way, because I have no idea how I trigger their algorithm. Go watch Cruising with Mark. He's much more educated on it than I am. Did you travel south of the equator aboard a ship while you're active duty in the Navy? Yes, I did. I am a golden shellback. Market Focus says, congratulations on 100,000 subscribers. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm trying to find some questions. Alberto, you put the word question and then you didn't put a question, so I'm not sure what you were asking, but ask it again. Every crew, okay, I think I'm caught up on questions. If you have any questions, ask them, and I'll be sure to get to them. We're doing our first cruise next month on Royal Caribbean, says Turn It Up World. See, we're living a parallel life. So what Royal Caribbean ship are you gonna be on? I've only been on Enchantment of the Seas, but I will be on the Symphony of the Seas, which is one of their mega ships later on this year. Super excited about it. Super excited about it. Do you have medical travel insurance? Okay, Steve, so let me answer this in two parts. I'm retired military, so I have medical insurance through TRICARE, which goes through Humana, because I elected for private care. So I get my insurance through them, and that covers, obviously, it's just like any other medical insurance. I use the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card, which gives me insurance a couple different ways. It gives me $10,000 trip insurance on any cruise I book that's under 50 days, which is all my cruises. I never book a cruise that's over 50 days. The longest cruise I booked is a 33-day cruise, which I'm getting ready to do, the Fire and Ice cruise to Iceland and to Norway and to a bunch of other cool places. But so I get $10,000 trip insurance, so if it gets canceled for some reason that's out of my control, they'll reimburse it. It also has $100,000 evacuation insurance. So if I need to be evacuated somewhere, they pay up to $100,000, which hopefully will cover anything. And then I also, it gives me some kind of emergency medical and dental insurance. So if I had to use that, I could. I can't remember exactly what the number amount is, but hopefully I would just be able to use my regular insurance in the United States. So yeah. But again, do your own research. So I elect not to get the cruise ship insurance because I'm covered in so many different ways. It's just like when I rent a rental car with my Chase Sapphire Reserve, I'm covered, full coverage on a rental car, so I always elect to not to get the insurance. And I've had to use that before. I did $2,000 damage on a rental car. I accidentally I was pulling out of a gas station and there was like a pole there and I didn't see it because it was low, and I damaged the car. It was $2,000 worth of damage. Chase Sapphire Reserve paid for it. So it works. I've had to use it before and it worked flawlessly. Turn It Up World says we're headed out on Oasis of the Seas. Yeah, that's one of the biggest ones. I'll be on Symphony of the Seas, which is also an Oasis class ship, so I'm super excited about it. When are you guys going to be on Oasis of the Seas? I'm cruising out of Florida until the end of May, when I hop on Island Princess and head over to Europe and start cruising in Europe. Let me know. I think Oasis is out of Miami, I think. I'll be cruising out of Fort Lauderdale a lot and Orlando. So yeah, let me know when you guys are going to be there. Maybe we can hook up on our cruise day. If our ships are in port at the same time. They probably won't be, but maybe they will. Sometimes the streams cross. Oh, I would love to have Kaylee on a cruise. I wouldn't recognize Kaylee if I saw her walking down the street. I have no idea what Kaylee looks like. But Kaylee has been a huge supporter. I didn't hear your answer to Let's Go Travel Tips question. Do you plan on cruising when your year is up? So I am loving cruising. I think I'm going to cruise longer than a year because there's some bucket list cruises that I don't think I'm going to be able to hit in 1 year. So if you don't know, I'm doing 3 months in the Caribbean, 3 months in Europe, 3 months in Asia, and then 3 months in South America most likely. But I'm also breaking that up a little bit. My mom wanted to go to Venice, so I'm taking her to Venice for Christmas. We won't be there in Christmas, but it's her Christmas present. And then we're sailing back on a cruise ship. So I think I'm going to end up cruising for longer than a year. And to be honest with you, I love it. I could see myself traveling full time, like going to places like Thailand, but still jumping on cruise ships out of Singapore, like Symphony of the Seas is out of Singapore, and some other cruise ships are out of Singapore. So I could see myself continuing to cruise. I love it. Turn It Up World says it's out of New Jersey. Okay, they must be moving up to New Jersey, or they just moved up there. But that's really cool. Thanks for answering that question, Kaylee, about a golden shellback. And if you guys like that nautical term, golden shellback, tomorrow's video, it's on Premiere right now. Hey, go and click that notification bell. It's been my favorite video to make. Anytime I get excited about a video, it ends up doing really crappy. So I'm pretty sure that video is going to do crappy, but I have high hopes for it. It was probably the most fun I've had making a YouTube video in a long time. Basically, I walk around the ship and tell you what different nautical terms mean. I'll give you a little quick preview, like this area right here. This is the back of the ship, also called the stern or the aft part of the ship, but what you probably don't know is that area right there would be called the fantail of a ship. And I go into why. I go into a bunch of funny words: scuttlebutt, gee-dunk, scuttlebutt, gee-dunk, bamboozle, all kinds of terms that have their origin in nautical history, and terms I think you should know when you go on a cruise ship. You'll be able to, I'm going to steal a joke from my video, you'll be able to impress your friends, but more importantly, you'll probably annoy the hell out of them, and that's more fun. It's more fun to annoy them than to impress them. CME Travel says excited to sail out of some of the ports from different places around the world. I'm super excited about it. I always do the Princess Plus package, tips, drinks, and Wi-Fi. That's probably a good idea. I don't drink enough for that, Andrea. Although I think maybe now it might make more sense. Are coffees, specialty coffees included in the drinks? I hope they bring back the coffee card on board here, to be honest with you. Kale says I'll be on Symphony of the Seas this coming December out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. I know Symphony of the Seas is still going to be over in Asia in October, or maybe it's the other one. Maybe it's not Symphony of the Seas. Maybe it's the other one that starts with an S. Maybe. HLT says, would you do a video of ships leaving port? I'm curious what it's like. I do have a couple of videos. I think I do have a couple of videos where on embarkation day, I do a video about it, the sail away party. Although, you know what, to be honest with you, a lot of times I'm doing these live streams when the sail away party happens, so maybe I haven't done that. Yeah, I'll do a video like that. CME Travel says specialty coffees are included with most drink packages. Good note. Melanie says, good joke. It was worthy of having additional coverage. Yeah. For those that don't watch tomorrow. And HLT, I think you gifted a bunch of memberships my last live stream, so thank you. And I think Kaylee did a couple live streams ago, so thank you for doing that. Okay, it's Spectrum of the Seas. Says Danny S says it's Spectrum of the Seas, and he's the one that told me that. I keep saying Symphony of the Seas, but I guess it's Spectrum of the Seas, which is over there, which might not be an Oasis class ship, which would really bum me out if it's not. But I think it's an Oasis class ship over there. I think it's an Oasis class ship. All right, let's see. HLT gifted 10 memberships. So I don't see when memberships are gifted for whatever reason. I'm on the YouTube app, by the way, and the YouTube app doesn't tell me that. So I guess HLT just gifted 10 memberships. So thank you. If you just got a gift of a membership, now you'll have a little badge in front of your name. And you can do a bunch of emojis, and I'm coming up with some more things to do for channel members, because I pretty much neglected them for a long time and I need to do more for them. So I'm working on that. So thank you, HLT, for gifting those memberships. I saw you say this is for Fufu Coffee, so thank you. Mars the Posh Shadow says, congratulations on 100K. Next will be 1 million. If it took me 4 years to get to 100K, that means it would take me 36 more years to get to 1 million. No. Yeah, 36 more years to get to 1 million, which means I would be in my 80s. So, Symphony of the Seas is a quantum class. I mean, I've heard quantum class are really nice, but I really wanted to be on an Oasis class. Are you sure? Someone go look at Cruise Plum right now and pull up Symphony of the Seas and see if it's out of Singapore right now. I think it's out of Singapore. Maybe I'm wrong. Are you planning, Annette asked, are you planning a trip on Cunard? Yeah, definitely going to do Queen Mary 2. I just haven't booked it yet because I got so many deals with Princess right now. I mean, I'm sailing with Princess for $0 cruise fare. Like, I just can't justify it in my mind. You know, I didn't grow up poor. Like, I grew up poor, but I didn't ever want for anything. My mother provided for us. She was a single mother of, 4 kids, and she always provided for us. We always had food. We always had clothes. You know, she provided for us. So I don't, I hate when I say that because my mother was amazing. Is amazing with providing for us, but we weren't rich or anything like that. And so I've always been a penny pincher, even though I can afford to spend more money. And so when I'm able to book a cruise for $0, it's hard for me to justify booking other cruise lines at this point, just for YouTube videos. So I haven't booked any more past the ones I've already booked. But when that gravy train runs out, which at some point that gravy train will run out because I just don't gamble a lot, at some point that gravy train will run out. I will definitely be booking a bunch more cruise lines. And Cunard is at the top of my list. I want to do Queen Mary 2. They have some amazing itineraries, and I love the idea of being on an ocean liner as a former sailor, U.S. Navy sailor. I love the idea of being on a real, true ocean liner. Lifan is talking about a friend that passed away that was a veteran, and the number 30 in a wake up made him think about that because of a wake. I also have Irish roots, by the way. Yeah, so 30 in a wake up obviously has a military connection. I was in the military for 20 years, and when you go on a military deployment, if you have 180 days left to return home to your family, you say I have 179 days in a wake up. That's where my YouTube channel name comes from, because the first year I was traveling, I lived in a different country every 30 days. So every 30 days in a wake up, I would be in a new country. So thanks for that. Sorry for your loss of your friend, but thanks for that, making that military connection. I'm having a heck of a time finding Symphony of the Seas on Cruise Plum. Oh no. Yeah, Symphony of the Seas is definitely Oasis class. But I'm curious if October timeframe, if it's sailing out of Singapore, which I thought it was. Question from Lynn: how do you travel full time? How does it affect your U.S. taxes? I wonder if it's the same for Canada. So the U.S. is one of the 2 countries in the world that taxes its citizens no matter where they are in the world. So you got to go to the tax man. However, if you're out of the country for 11 months, out of a 12-month period, you get some kind of deduction, foreign income credit or something like that. I will not hit that, obviously, because I'm coming in and out of the country all the time doing this, but I have hit it in the past. But I'm not giving anybody tax advice. Even though I'm a lawyer, I use a tax accountant. I use a tax accountant to figure all that out. How does, there we go, read that one. If I missed your question, please ask it again. Brett Summer says, be in the Caribbean next year. Awesome. Caribbean is amazing. Symphony should be back in Florida this fall after dry dock and Europe and med sailings. Okay. Have you got any parts of the UK you were looking forward to visiting? I remember you saying a few weeks ago you're on a British Isle tour. Yeah, I'm super excited about that, Tim. I have a buddy, Harry, who I traveled with on Remote Year from Guernsey, and so I'm excited to go to Guernsey. That's on my British Isles tour. Yeah, so I'm super excited about it. You know, I did 23andMe a few years ago, and like 70% of my heritage is from London and Cork and Kerry, Ireland, and Galway, Ireland, is where my ancestry comes from. Greater London area, and then a lot of it from Kerry, Cork, and Galway. And so I'm interested just in seeing all of that area. I'm super excited about it. But yeah, I'm doing British Islands. I'm sailing out of Southampton a lot. I'm doing a Med cruise where we go into the Med and do a bunch of places. And I'm going to, I'm doing the British Isles cruise. I'm also doing a Baltic cruise, a Scandinavian cruise, all kinds of different things. Warrior Woman says, congratulations on 100K. Where will you display your plaque? So it's going to be sent to my mother's house, and she'll take a picture of it when I get it. Who knows when that'll happen? They haven't sent me an email yet. It usually takes a little bit of time. Turn It Up World's on here. They got over 100,000 subscribers. Maybe they can tell me. I haven't been able to do the check mark yet. It still hasn't populated through their system, so it doesn't allow me to get my channel verified that way yet. So I don't know when it's going to happen. All that stuff's going to happen, but will you vlog your trip? Yeah, I'll definitely vlog my trip, Jack Shea. Hey, look at that. So inside the chat right now, so in the US Navy and other branches, they have the most senior enlisted person in the branch. So in the Navy, we call him the MCPON, the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy. In the Army, they call it the Sergeant Major of the Army. In the Marine Corps, they call it the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. In the Air Force, I think they call it the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. And it's a big deal. In the Navy, there's only been like 15 of them ever in the history of the Navy. They usually do 3 years. And the 12th MCPON in the Navy is in my chat. His name is Rick West. Amazing guy. I'm super honored to have him in here. He's the 12th MCPON in Navy history. And so how cool is it to have the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy in my channel? And I'm sure he's super excited about me doing nautical trivia and educating all of the cruise passengers on different things, different nautical terms on the ship. Thank you, MCPON, for stopping in the chat. It's an honor to have you in here. So his name is Rick West. If you see him in the chat, say hi to Rick. He's been retired for a while now. Congratulations on 100K. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Turn It Up World asks, what is your favorite spot on the ship to book a room? I never book a room. I just leave it up to the ship. And so to me, it really doesn't matter, to be honest with you. I don't get seasick. You know, knock on wood. If I got seasick on, actually there's some wood right here. If I got seasick on a cruise ship, guys like MCPON Weston here would give me a rash of crap. This ship is huge. It has fin stabilizers, which keep the ship pretty stable. They would give me a rash of crap. So even if I got seasick on a cruise ship, I would never admit it and I'd never tell you about it. But to me, it doesn't matter. Location doesn't matter to me on a cruise ship. But if you think you're going to be susceptible to seasickness or motion sickness, the closer to the middle of the ship you are, midships, which we'll talk about in my video tomorrow, the closer to the center of the ship you are, the center line of the ship, the less movement there is and the further down you are. So usually you can book deck 8 on a cruise ship, which is usually the lowest deck you can book. On some of the older ships, you can book lower. I was on deck 3 on Enchantment of the Seas, which is way down, and you could actually book deck 2, which is great. I think you're actually under the water line in deck 2, which means it'll be nice and cool in your room at all times. But yeah, so I would say if you're susceptible to seasickness, book yourself as close to the center of the ship and as far down as you can, because you know, this is the bow of the ship, this is the stern of the ship. They move like this, right? So if you're here, right, you're moving a lot more than if you're here, right? You're moving a lot more up and down, right? And same thing, side to side, right? If you're over here, so there you go. So, or port to starboard, fore and aft. MCPON's gonna give me a lot of crap for saying side to side, but I have to do that on these videos, MCPON. A lot of these land lubbers don't know those nautical terminologies. How cool, that is really cool that he showed up to my live stream. Have you thought about interviewing staff or crew on board for behind the scenes peeks? It's something I really, really want to do. Judith, speaking of shipmates, Judith cruised on the Ruby Princess with me before, which was amazing. And we're going to be cruising on the Grand Princess again soon, which is, I'm super excited. We're going to be doing an Alaskan cruise. She's going to be on there. What was the question? What was the question? Oh, interviewing staff and crew. So it's definitely something I'm interested in doing, but most of them are a little bit apprehensive about it because they work for the company. And so I haven't convinced anybody to let me interview them yet. I'm sure the higher ranking officers on board would have no problem doing it because they're trained in the proper etiquette and the proper things to say, but stateroom steward or someone working different areas, which are like in engineering and places like that, the people that I'm really interested in interviewing, they're a little bit more apprehensive about it because if they say anything bad about the company, there could be repercussions for it, I'm sure. So I'm pretty sure they're probably told not to do those, but I keep trying. So maybe at some point I'll get an interview with someone maybe that's leaving the ship, is done with their cruise ship life. So maybe at some point I'll get to interview somebody. And by the way, Rick West is a very humble guy. He probably didn't really want me to do all that stuff that I did talking about him. But, really cool to have him in here. By the way, as Cunard elitely says, the ships Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Mary are ocean liners. You are on an interior cruise ship that can't handle heavy weather. That's top heavy. Yeah, this one's really top heavy because it has the studio lounge or the Starlight Lounge or whatever it's called above me, so it's super top heavy. They don't put this on the cruise ships that they build now because I think it actually does really impact the ship negatively when it comes to safety and navigation. So they don't put that on ships anymore. But cruise ships do move around, but you know what? This is a huge ship with fin stabilizers. 10-foot waves, I don't even notice them on here. Where I was on frigates when I was in the Navy, a lot of frigates, and those things bob around like a top, even with fin stabilizers, and half the time they were broken. So those things, bob around like a top in 10-foot waves. Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, and here Rick West was a submariner for a big portion of his career. So they get to avoid that by going underneath the waves in a submarine. So the ship Kevin is on is beyond tall. Yeah, this is definitely not the tallest ship I've been on. I would say MSC Meraviglia is the tallest ship I've been on. Sky Princess was pretty tall, but MSC Meraviglia was definitely the tallest ship I've been on so far. We were parked next to Wonder of the Seas, which is a Royal Caribbean Oasis class ship and the biggest cruise ship in the world. Actually, I think it's the biggest ship in the world. Actually, it's bigger than an aircraft carrier. I'm almost positive it's the biggest ship in the world at the moment. I think it's going to be replaced as the biggest ship by the new one they're building called Icon of the Seas. But we were next to that one, and I mean, those decks go for days. I think there's 22 decks on that ship, so huge ship. Have you noticed any difference in how the crew interacts on smaller ships than larger ships, or line versus line? Absolutely. So I was on Enchantment of the Seas, which is a pretty small ship in Royal Caribbean's fleet, and it was definitely a more personable. Man, that lady down there is laughing uncontrollably. She's had a good start to her cruise. She's already got a margarita going down there. So she's already enjoying her cruise. She's got her feet in the pool, the margarita in hand. She's kicking off her cruise in a very fun way. That's who you hear laughing, by the way. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so yeah, you definitely get a more intimate experience on smaller ships. The biggest ship I was on was MSC Meraviglia. There was something like 6,000 people on board. You could definitely see a difference in, you don't really get familiar with the crew like you do. You do your stateroom steward because that stays the same, and that person was awesome. But there was definitely there's definitely better customer service on smaller ships because they have less passengers to cater to it. So it just makes sense that that's the case. I'm also going to do a video on the difference between cruising in the Navy and cruising in the cruise ships. I mean, obviously, most of the time the cruise ship's going to win out with like my enjoyment level of the cruise, but there are some things that are better about cruising on a Navy ship than cruising on a cruise ship. I'll give you one example. So on a cruise ship, you pull into a port at 8 o'clock, you leave by 4 o'clock. You don't really get to experience the port very much. And definitely not the culture, and no nightlife at all. On a Navy ship, you pull into a port 3, 4, 5 days. I mean, I've actually been in ports for way longer than that. I was on an aircraft carrier that had to get. We went over during shock and awe. I was in the Abraham Lincoln Battle Group during shock and awe when we initially invaded Iraq, and we were there actually before that happened. And we got extended, but our flight deck was worn down. And so we had to go to Australia, Perth, Australia, and we stayed in Australia for a couple months. or a month, a little bit over a month, getting our flight deck resurfaced. So that was a long port visit, obviously, but usually it's 3, 4, 5 days, sometimes a week. I did a port visit in Toulon, France for 2 weeks one time, which was amazing. So one of the things that's better about a Navy cruise than a cruise ship cruise is you stay in ports longer and overnight. Cynthia says, I just finished a cruise on Wonder of the Seas, loved it. Cynthia, I probably got a shot of the back of the ship when you were on there. We were in a port with Wonder of the Seas recently, and I think it's in my most recent video. My most recent video that I uploaded, you'll see yourself sailing away from, I don't know what cruise port it was, maybe Nassau, Bahamas. You'll see yourself sailing away from Nassau, Bahamas. All right. I got to go to a VA award ceremony on the USS Midway. Did you serve on her? No. USS Midway was way past my time. Maybe Mick Pond West was on Midway. he was in a lot longer than me and way before me. Maybe he saw the Midway. I definitely never saw the Midway. The oldest ship that was in the Navy when I was on board, the oldest aircraft carrier was USS Independence, which got decommissioned while I was in the Navy. And then after that, it was probably USS John F. Kennedy. That was the oldest, JFK, which no longer, which is decommissioned as well. It was the last conventional. Maybe the America was still around when I came in '94. I think it was the Indy, though. I think USS Independence was the oldest ship, the oldest aircraft carrier. Probably not the oldest ship. I've been on some pretty old ships. I was on the USS LaSalle, which was definitely a very old ship. And the USS Mount Whitney, which isn't super old, but pretty old as well. So you said the Midway decommissioned in 1992. I came in 1994. So 1992, I was still in high school. But yeah, I came in 1994. So yeah, it would have been decommissioned by the time I came in. I was positive that ship was decommissioned when I came in. I'm almost positive USS Indianapolis was the oldest aircraft carrier. Maybe America, but I think Independence. Now they name them all after dead presidents, which I actually really don't like that. I wish they wouldn't name aircraft carriers after politicians. I wish they'd name it like they used to. Independence, America, Constellation. They had all kinds of cool names. Like they do. That's where all those Star Trek ship names come from. They come from the Navy. I wish they would still name them like that and not dead presidents. But politics. Melanie says my dad was in a rock band on a Navy ship, and then they did a festival. The clothes are aggressively 70s. Yeah, so he was probably part of the USO tour. My dad was a musician and actually did USO tour as well in the Navy, and he was on a couple of the old carriers. I think he was on Indy and the Saratoga, I think was the other one he was on, USS Saratoga. When he did USO tour in the 80s, I think was when he did it. Maybe it was the 70s, but I think it was 80s. My father was a musician. What about the Nimitz? Yeah, the Nimitz is still around. Or at least it was when I retired from the Navy in 2015. I've actually been on the Nimitz before, very briefly, but I was on her. I've been on a lot of the aircraft carriers. I was the command master chief of a F-18 squadron, VFA 34, and we were out of Norfolk, Virginia, but we were actually on West Coast carriers because we were in Carrier Air Wing 2. So we hopped on a bunch of West Coast carriers, not the Nimitz, but I did go on the Nimitz for some training before. I was never in the Nimitz battle group. I was in the Ronald Reagan battle group, the Abraham Lincoln battle group, Theodore Roosevelt battle group. Paul says the symphony is out of Barcelona. Thanks for that. I don't think it had to do with the USO. My dad was actually, so your dad was a musician in the Navy. Very cool. I always tell people so my father was a musician, and there's only two kinds of musicians really in the world, rich and poor. There ain't no such thing as middle class musicians. Unfortunately, my dad was mostly a poor musician. He played in country shows in the Ozarks, country music shows in Branson and Osage Beach, Missouri. But the Navy affords you the opportunity to be a middle class musician. And I always tell people, if you're a musician, maybe come in the military and be a musician, and you can have a middle class lifestyle instead of rich or poor. So it was always interesting. When I was a drill sergeant at Navy boot camp. We don't call them drill sergeants, but I know people never get that right. When I went through Navy boot camp, they were called company commanders. When I was a drill sergeant, a company commander, they called them recruit division commanders. I think that's what they still call them. And I was a recruit division commander of what's called 900 divisions, which are the performing divisions that perform at boot camp. And a lot of times I would get what's called triple threat, which are rifles, flags, and band. So I would get all the band geeks, all the Navy musicians coming in the Navy. And a lot of times they went to Juilliard School of Music, they're really high level musicians. So to entice them to come into the Navy automatically makes them a certain rank. They're all enlisted except for the band leader, but they make them a certain rank. So they'll make them E5s, E4s, E5s, E6s right out of boot camp. Sometimes even E7, which is a chief. And a lot of chiefs have a problem with that people come in the Navy as a chief. I had no problems with it. So a lot of times I would get people that actually outranked me that I was screaming and yelling at. I was an E6 when I started that. I ended up making chief while I was pushing boots, while I was a drill sergeant. But sometimes I would get recruits that outranked me. And I had partners that were E5s, partners that I pushed divisions with, that I was a drill sergeant in divisions with. I'm speaking a lot of Navy terms. I'm trying to be careful with that. And they would be E5s. And so they would get all kinds of people that would outrank them. And it was always funny to see that they would immediately outrank them after they graduated boot camp. While they were going through boot camp, they still got paid at that level, but they weren't allowed to wear that rank. When they graduated, though, they would graduate at that rank, and so they would immediately outrank the person that was screaming and yelling at them, and I always thought that was very interesting dynamic. Sorry to go off track. I know a lot of you aren't interested in that stuff, but you just got me thinking of that. Oh, there's a bunch of Navy brats in here. Very cool. He was an officer in the engine room. Very cool, very cool. Andrea says, was I the Lou Gossett type? I was more like so in every group that you pick up 88 recruits, and Navy boot camp is advertised at 8 weeks, but it really ends up being about 10 to 12 weeks. You usually have them about between 10 and 12 weeks. You have them what's called the processing days, which usually take at least 10 days. So boot camp for them actually is, we like to advertise it as 8 weeks because people go, I can do that for 8 weeks. I'm not gonna go in the Marine Corps and do 12 weeks, I'll go in the Navy and do 8 weeks. But it really ends up being 10 to 12 weeks, it's kind of false advertising. But You pick up 88 recruits, and then you do it for 10 to 12 weeks, and then you pick a new group up. And there's usually 3 of you, and you will kind of get together and figure out who's going to be which version of a company commander, or who's going to be the mean one, who's going to be the one that recruits feel a little bit more comfortable going to if they have a legitimate issue, like that really needs to be addressed, a health issue, sexual harassment, or something, And then someone will usually be new, so they'll kind of just be in the middle and kind of learning. They'll be new to it. And oftentimes I would be the mean one. A lot of people say I can't imagine you being the mean one, but it's just acting. So I would be more like the guy from Full Metal Jacket, if you ever seen that, with a lot less cursing, because we weren't allowed to curse, and the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy is in here, so I didn't curse at all. Where was I going with that? But to be honest with you, you can only yell and scream so much before sailors start tuning you out. So that only lasts a few days. When they initially come into boot camp, you kind of give them the whole whirlwind experience, teach them to kind of deal with a little bit of stress. But the whole screaming and yelling at them thing, it doesn't last very long in boot camp, because you learn really quickly that it's not a good tool for trying to train someone to do a job and to educate someone. They end up tuning you out. And so you come up with other methods to motivate people. And each individual is different. What might motivate one person turns another person off. So you kind of learn the 88 recruits that you're pushing through boot camp, and you figure out what motivates them. Some guys are, hard-headed and just yelling and screaming at them. That's what motivates them. Other people, it's, invoking like their patriotism. Other people, it's invoking like, what would your mom think of you right now if she was here? That type of thing. Or what about your shipmates around you? So it's, it goes up and down. It's not really effective to yell and scream, but it is fun, especially the first couple nights. It's pretty fun. Master Chief says, Mick Pond West says, for those who served and those family members who served supporting on the home front, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. I'm missing it. It's going too fast. I actually did see the Midway and sailed on the Coral Sea. Very cool. Very cool. So he thanks families, and so I did 20 years, and I always tell people, when people say thank you for your service, I feel a little bit disingenuous about that. Like, to me, the people that you thank for their service are like the people that did 4 years, joined the military as part of their life for patriotism or for whatever reason they joined. For me, I chose it as a career, so I always feel a little bit awkward when people say thank you for your service to me. I feel a little awkward about it, because I kind of chose it. But the people that really deserve the thanks are the families that stay behind because they don't sign up for it, right? And the service members get to go off and do their thing on deployment, and the people left behind have to their life still goes on, all the daily chores that go on in life, and all the daily things that happen to the kids, the spouses, their life still goes on, and you're out there, seeing the world, and obviously sometimes doing the war stuff, but you're just focused on that, and not only are they worried about you, but they're also having to, life just is moving on without you. You basically press pause on a VCR, and their life continues. So really, to me, the family members have the toughest jobs, especially the kids, the toughest jobs. Like, they didn't sign up for that; they're just thrown into it. We signed up for it. We know what we're getting into. But yeah, so I definitely agree with Master Chief West there. Toby says, great to see you doing your thing, brother. What's going on, Toby? How you doing, man? Is that, I can't see the picture. Which Toby is that? I know a lot of Tobys. Is this Master Chief Toby that I served with, who I think is a Fleet Master Chief now? I think it's a Fleet Master Chief. I can't see which Toby it is. I know a lot of Tobys. I'm hoping to plan some cruises later down the road when I get some time. Either way, Toby, thank you for the comment. All right, I definitely missed a lot of questions here. Robin Jan Cruz says, questions. We are doing a 25-day Carnival Trans-Pacific from Singapore to Ho Chi Minh City. From Singapore to Ho Chi Minh City for one stop. Would you take malaria pills? I don't like giving health advice. I spent a lot of time in Vietnam when I was over there. Singapore is like the United States from a healthcare perspective. It's probably actually much better. So I don't think you have a whole lot to worry. Well, I don't want to say that, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to give health advice. So I would say they have all these travel clinics in the United States. I would go check with one of those and see what they recommend. I did bring malaria pills with me when I traveled through Asia. I never took them. And I never got malaria. That doesn't mean you won't get malaria. And I know people who have gotten malaria before. I don't want to give health advice. So I would say contact your healthcare professional, because I would feel terrible if I told you not to do that and you got it. When I was in the Navy, a lot of times they would give us malaria pills when we went to Southeast, Southwest Asia. So I did take it then, but that's because I was forced to. But I didn't last time I was over there. Okay, so that is Toby Ruiz. No, not a fleet, but still serving. You're at least a Force Master Chief. I know you were Force Master Chief for a while. I think you were a fleet for a while. Anyway, Toby, I served with Toby, and we were both squadron CMCs. We were both Squadron Command Master Chiefs on board Abraham Lincoln in Carrier Strike Group 9. He was in there both times I was there. He was there when I was the Strike Group Command Master Chief. And provided me a bunch of mentorship. I was actually a senior chief when I first got that job. Gave me a bunch of mentorship and helped me become a command master chief, which was amazing. Toby was one of the first command senior chiefs, I think, which was awesome. So he paved the way for guys like me to go command senior chief and then command master chief. And Toby's just an all-around good guy, great guy, amazing guy. So thanks for stopping in here, brother. I appreciate it. Steve says, I also feel weird when people thank me for my service. One of the things that cruise ships do that's really good is they always have veteran meetups. And then Royal Caribbean, when I was on Enchantment of the Seas, they would do a veteran celebration at the end, and they would bring all the veterans up into the big grand atrium. They would call them up by service, and they had cake, and they would do the national anthem and play the different songs for the different branches, and I felt really awkward about it. But what I do really love about that kind of thing, and I say this all the time, is most of them, to be honest with you, are Vietnam veterans, and Vietnam veterans got treated really crappy when they came back from Vietnam. You know, it wasn't their choice to go for the most part. You know, it was politicians' choice, and they got treated really bad. But those guys and those men and women have made sure that the generations after them didn't get treated like that. And I did 6 deployments, 5 of them were combat deployments. I did a boots on ground. I did a boots on the ground tour in Iraq I was dressed in an Army uniform with the 2nd MEF and then with the 82nd Airborne in Al-Assad, Iraq. And every time I came home, I was greeted with cheers when I got off the plane and handshakes, and so much appreciation, because those guys and women wanted to make sure that what happened to them never happened to any other veteran. And so every time I see them, those are the guys, the men and women that I like to thank for their service. And I'm so glad these cruise ships honor them, because they got treated like crap for no fault of their own. And thanks to them, I never had to come home to something like that after a deployment. And it was like, I'm super appreciative of that. And I'm really glad that cruise ships do that. Not only do they do that appreciation, they always have veterans meetups on board the ships. And yeah, it's pretty, the cruise ships are pretty amazing. They also give you a bunch of benefits. Veterans and retired military people get 10% off Norwegian cruises, 5% off Royal Caribbean and MSC. And on Princess, they give you onboard credit. Usually all you got to do is email in your DD-214 to Google whatever cruise line you want to go to and veteran, and you'll find what the email is, and it's almost instantaneous. It's really easy. And like with Princess Cruises, every time I book a 14-day cruise, I get $250 onboard credit, which is amazing. Every single time. I'm doing a dozen cruises with them. That's $2,700 that I get onboard credit with them. So it's amazing. My dad was on USS Copernicus and got to sail the Mediterranean in peacetime. That's pretty amazing. I've never even heard of that ship, but that's an awesome name. I wish they still named ships like that. I hate that they name ships. I like that they still name ships. Most ships don't get named after dead presidents, but aircraft carriers do. Most of them get named after famous vessels or famous historical figures in naval history. Like I was on the USS Reuben James, who was one of the first enlisted members that a ship was named after. Not a politician. But I really don't like when ships get named after politicians. The John S. McCain was not named after a politician. It was named after an admiral, John McCain's father. A lot of people think the John McCain destroyer was named after John McCain. It was not, even though he did serve in the Navy and was a POW. He was a pilot. That ship's not named after him. It's named after his father, who was an admiral, a pretty famous admiral in the U.S. Navy. Okay, if you have any questions, ask it. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent about Navy stuff, and I'm sorry about that, but got a bunch of my Navy shipmates in here. Life's the Beach says, I love that name, by the way. Life's the Beach says, is it true in the Navy you have to kiss ass to get promoted? It might be, who knows? You must be a Marine or something. I would like to say no, that's not the case, but who knows? I've been out for a long time. That's not my issue anymore. What do you think of Top Gun Maverick? Oh, I like it. I mean, it's definitely unrealistic, as was Top Gun. If you ever talk to any pilots about like the way Goose died, like it's impossible, or if you talk to any physicist, it's impossible, because when the windshield pops off at the speed the plane's going, it would fly off so much faster that no way Goose would have ran into the windshield. But Navy people love Top Gun. I was in an F-18 squadron. 90% of the people in that squadron, whether it was the mechanics or the pilots, joined the Navy partially because of Top Gun and went to work on jets as mechanics because of Top Gun. So its impact on the Navy, I'm sure was amazing in the 80s and continued through on. And Top Gun Maverick is no exception. I do find it funny that poor Maverick was still in 06 after all those years, after 30 years. He was still in 06, he couldn't make Admiral, but his buddy Iceman did, obviously. His buddy Iceman was the Commander-in-Chief U.S. Pacific Fleet, although now it's called Commander U.S. Pacific Fleet, but when I was stationed there, it was called Commander-in-Chief U.S. Pacific Fleet. They changed it because they didn't like that the Navy had a Commander-in-Chief, maybe only the President should be that. But when I was stationed there, it was called Commander-in-Chief U.S. Pacific Fleet, so that's why I say that. Or affectionately known as Sink-Pack Fleet, now called Compact Fleet. But in that movie, Iceman was the Commander-in-Chief U.S. Pacific Fleet, which I thought was really cool, although the office looks nothing like that at the actual Commander-in-Chief U.S. Pacific Fleet. But, so yeah, do Navy people, is it realistic? I don't think it's terribly realistic. But, yeah. Usually those guys that go on to become test pilots like Maverick was, usually make Admiral. I haven't known, I've worked for a few aviation admirals in my career, and they were all test pilots. A lot of them become astronauts. They don't go Admiral, they become astronauts. So the fact that he was a Navy test pilot and couldn't make Admiral, those things don't really line up very well. But, everyone loves Maverick. Gumshoe says Top Gun brought in a lot of enlistments. I was one of them. I sidetracked into law enforcement. Very cool. Were you a master at arms in the Navy? Congratulations on 100,000 subs. Thanks. Really appreciate the diverse discussion and input all around, says Robert Weber. Longest live stream for me, too interesting. I appreciate you sticking around. I usually don't like to go off on a tangent, but I got a bunch of shipmates in here. You know, it's my 100,000 celebration. So, is the ship sailing out through the drawbridge? No, we're on the other side of it. So we'll just if you were able to look right over here, you would see the Atlantic Oceans right there. So we're just going to sail. We're not going that way where the drawbridge is. We're going that way. So we're already outside of the lifelines of that drawbridge. I think that goes to the intercoastal. Most of the ships coming through there are sailboats and yachts, smaller yachts. I don't think one of these could fit through there. I mean, that's really thin. I don't think a cruise ship could fit through there. Definitely not this one. Melanie says, I think the answer was in the nickname. He was a rule flaunter. Smash the thumbs up. It will prevent seasickness. Yeah, smash that thumbs up. It does prevent seasickness. Thank you for that, Rob and Jan. Guys, check out their YouTube channel as well. They do some great cruise content. I'm starting to discover all these new cruise channels, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Bridge up, I'm sailing through it now. Waving? Were you really? Yeah, that bridge is really cool. And they have a really cool walkway and bike path across it. So I'm actually, I said this earlier, at some point I'm going to get a home base in the US, and I'd like to be at a place that, number one, doesn't have state taxes, has an international airport, and also another like US regional type of airport, which this area does. You have the Fort Lauderdale Airport and the Miami International Airport. And so and also be able to just jump on a cruise ship. So I'm thinking about actually, there's apartments, or there's condos over here you can buy, and there's condos over here you can buy. And so I'm actually thinking about getting just like a small studio or something as a home base in the future here. It's not set in stone, it's not gonna happen anytime soon, but I am window shopping right now. Yeah, West Palm too as well. And then you have Tampa and Orlando, which are a little bit ways away, but you have those too. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you ask them. I'm pretty much caught up. Thank you everyone who showed up here. We're at 176 people in the chat. I'm just gonna keep going for a little while. I'm having fun with this. I know it's a little bit longer than normal. I apologize. A lot of people complain about my live streams being too long, and I'm always like, well, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Tomorrow's video is gonna be awesome. It's about some nautical terms, not Navy terms, nautical terms. Some of them are Navy related and come from Navy history, but some of them are just nautical terms. What does CMC do versus other ranks of chief? So Command Master Chief is the senior enlisted person at a command. So you usually have three senior people, the commanding officer, just like you would on a cruise ship. You have the commanding officer, then you have an executive officer, and then a Command Master Chief or Command Senior Chief. And that's the senior enlisted person on board. You have the officers and the enlisted, and that's the senior enlisted on board. Yeah, I don't want to bore everybody, but yeah. And then a chief is just is a high rank of a technical specialty. So let's say you're a quartermaster on board. That means you handle like navigating the ship, like working on the bridge. I'm trying to say stuff that would be familiar to people who are on cruise ships. Say you're a quartermaster, The chief quartermaster is usually the most senior quartermaster on board a ship. You'll have a chief, and he'll be in charge of everybody in the navigation department, all the enlisted quartermasters and signalmen. We don't have those anymore in the Navy, but yeah. So a chief would be the head of that department. And then you have a senior chief and a master chief. So chief's E7, senior chief's E8, master chief's E9, and then command master chief is still in E9, but is the senior master chief on board, whatever unit they're in. Have you ever been on a cruise ship during a storm? If so, is there much movement? I don't think I've been on one during a storm. We had like 10-foot swells the other day, 10-foot waves, and it was moving a little bit, but again, it was like, with the spin stabilizers, I mean, you barely feel it. You barely feel it, and I'm all the way forward. My cabin is towards the bow of the ship, and that's one of the worst places to be, and I barely felt it. Randy Dobson just did a super chat. Thank you very much, Randall. I said Randy, but Randall, I don't know if you go by Randy. I really enjoy your videos and appreciate what you do. We live in Orlando many years, and son lives in West Palm, both great cities. Very cool. I'll be cruising out of, not Orlando, but Cape Canaveral soon. I'll be on the Norwegian Getaway and the MSC Seaside, both new classes of ship that I haven't tried yet. I'm super excited about it. I love trying different ships. That's why I don't stick with one ship the whole time. I just go from ship to ship. Kaylee gifted some memberships. Thank you, Kaylee. That's too kind of you. You've been doing that a lot lately, and you know you don't have to do that. You're like one of my extraordinary moderators, always here. But I appreciate that. Where am I headed next? We are going to some of the Saints. So if you don't know, I'm sailing 3 months in the Caribbean. I'm working on my 3rd month now. Then I'm going to Europe for 3 months, sailing the North Sea and the Mediterranean, a bunch of different cruises in those areas. And then we're going over to Asia for a little while, and then probably South America. Haven't booked those yet though. But on this cruise, we're going to St. Thomas, St. Martin, and Princess K, which is in the Bahamas. It's like Princess's private island or whatever. All right. Elvie says, I watch all of your live streams. I don't catch you live. If I don't catch you live, I replay it divided by hours. Yeah, you know, a lot of people on this cruise ship, someone the other day came to me and said, yeah, I like going to sleep to your live streams, which I don't know how to take that. You know, maybe it's so boring that they fall asleep, but yeah. Yuki says I'm staying until your battery dies. Well, thank you. People call me Craig. Says I want to go to St. Martin just to stand on the beach when planes fly over. Yeah, that's something to do there. I did a video on how to just walk off a cruise ship in St. Martin. It's one of my favorite videos I've done. Port visit videos aren't really popular because, you know, people got to be searching for that. But I really enjoy doing them, and that was a really fun one to do in St. Martin. Rent before you buy in Miami. I would definitely do a bunch of Airbnbs in different buildings and see which building I like. I would definitely do that. Just came on, where are you at? Asked Edna. So I am in Fort Lauderdale, Florida right now, getting ready to head out on the Caribbean Princess to the, I guess, where would the Saints be? Southern Caribbean? I guess that would be Southern Caribbean? Yeah, getting ready to head out to the Southern Caribbean. Are you getting compensation from the Veterans Affairs besides the retirement pay? So when I retired pretty young in my 30s. I didn't have a lot wrong with me, so I don't have much of that stuff. And you got to be at least up to 50% for it to be a separate thing. If not, your veteran payment is only gets a % deducted from your retirement pay, which gives you basically a little bit of tax-free retirement. So I basically get nothing from the VA because I was like really young and healthy when I retired. I didn't do like 30-something years and, you know, have a broken back and all that kind of stuff. So I just get my military retirement. But I'm super thankful for that every single day. Kevin, your voice is nice. White noise. There we go. Your voice is real. Kid tone timbre. I don't know what that means, but I probably should, right? Which is very soothing range. Unsurprisingly, that people fall asleep to it. I should do one of those channels. You know, I see those channels where people just do like, just talk. What are they called? What are those channels called? Anyway, I should do one of those channels. I re-listen to them when I'm going to sleep. Your voice is soothing. Oh, well, thank you, HLT. I should do one of the ASMR, that's what it's called. I should do ASMR videos. If I missed your question, please ask it again. The question stuff's just moving. Chris says that's the Eastern Caribbean. So what do you say, Caribbean or Caribbean? Caribbean or Caribbean? I go back and forth between Caribbean and Caribbean. What do you say? For those who just joined, I am in Fort Lauderdale on board Caribbean Princess, getting ready to go on an Eastern Caribbean cruise to St. Martin, St. Thomas, and Princess Cays. Do you have travel insurance on top of TRICARE? S10, so I have TRICARE for health insurance. I actually go through Humana. I use the private option or whatever. So I explained this earlier, but I'll explain it again. So I have a credit card called the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and it's a great travel credit card. Go to the YouTube channel, Ask Sebi, to figure out what travel credit card is good for you. He's got a great channel all about it. That's where I found out about it. So my Chase Sapphire Reserve card gives me $10,000 trip insurance when I book a cruise, 50 days or less. So if something happens and my cruise gets canceled, they'll refund it. I also have $100,000 evacuation insurance with that. So if something happens to me and I need to be medevaced out, it'll cover up to $100,000. And it also has emergency medical and dental insurance that it'll cover. I can't remember exactly the amount. I want to say it's $50K, it might be $100K, I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully if something happened to me, I'd just be able to go to the regular hospital here in Fort Lauderdale when I pull in. But yeah, that's how I'm covered. You can purchase insurance through the cruise line, but I don't do that because I'm covered with my Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card. I've actually used their insurance before. They also insure rental cars, and I had to use it for that. I had a little fender bender in my rental car. It was $2,000 worth of damage. It's my fault. I hit a little pole with the side of my rental car, and they paid for it. How many kids are on this trip? I think there's 800, so it's going to be a ton of kids. Last cruise was 600 kids, but this should be the last cruise like that. I don't hate kids, but it is nicer when you don't have as many kids. Usually Princess doesn't have a lot of kids, but it's spring break, so a lot of people are bringing their kids. I know many veterans who triple dip, VA comp, military retirement, and GS pay. Yeah, I never did that. Life's a beach. I never worked for the government after I retired. I went to law school. I used my GI Bill for that and became a lawyer. And now I make YouTube videos. So I get paid by Google to make YouTube videos. Is December a good time to travel to Thailand? I would say anytime's a good time to travel. December is one of the cooler months. It's starting to get hot, but it's cool, especially up north. Sorry, mid-tone, not too high, not too low. Okay. Also ASMR's whispering, yeah. I don't think I'd go in a pool when kids are on board. Nothing against kids. Yeah, Emma Cruises said something funny the other day. I say this sometimes too, like I always say, a lot of times I don't go into the hot tub on cruise ships because it's basically people soup. But the other day she said, a lot of cruise ships, when there's a lot of kids on board, she doesn't go in the pool because it's a kid's soup. And yeah, kids will, a lot of kids. When I was younger, I was a lifeguard at a pool, and the owner of the pool decided to put this dye in the pool that turns red if you pee in the pool. And he realized really quick that was a bad mistake because kids pee in pools like crazy, and so there was red clouds everywhere in the pool, and then everyone got out of the pool. and he lost a lot of business, so he quit doing that. But I always remember that, so whenever there's a lot of kids in the pool, I don't tend to go into pool because there's chlorine in these pools, but you know, there's only so much chlorine per P ratio. So, but yeah, right now, if you came on the cruise ship and you wanted to get in the aft pool, there's nobody in the stern pool, the fantail pool. If you watch my video tomorrow, you'll learn that area would be referred to as the fantail. And if you want to sound really smart and annoy you, or more likely annoy your friends, and they ask you what pool you're going to, you can say, I'm going to the fantail pool, and see if they know what that means. When using the main dining room, do you tip your waiter? I usually tip my waiter at the end of the cruise, Life's the Beach. I usually tip my waiter at the end of the cruise when I use main dining room. I haven't been using the main dining room a lot though. And I usually tip my cabin steward, and I always bring a lot of ones, a big stack of ones, and I usually will tip bartenders and things like that. I know you pay gratuities, and a lot of people are like, oh, that's double tipping, why do you do that? But I just feel comfortable doing it. You don't have to do it. You pay gratuities when you get on board, but I do it. I go above and beyond, because my mother raised me working in the service industry off tips, and so I just feel better when I do that. My nose is itchy. Sorry, my nose is itching. Early in the day is the best hot tub time. Yeah, I agree with that. Anytime I ever get in the hot tub, I actually love getting in the hot tub in the mornings, because they usually have drained the water and refilled them, and I'll go and I get them all to myself in the morning when it's nice and cool. I don't like getting in hot tubs in hot weather. So in the Caribbean, in the morning, it's usually nice to get in there. When I go cruise to Iceland and Norway next month, I think it'll be really nice to get in the hot tub during those times when I'm cruising. Those times. Did you say there's fighting in the background? They're not fighting. They're just having a good time. They're all drinking their Heinekens and Dos Equis, and they're just being rowdy. It's their cruise, you know. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you type the word question in all caps down there so I see it. If I missed something you said or a question, I apologize. My chat moves really quickly. I've got 313 thumbs up. If you haven't smashed it, please smash it. Thanks everyone for showing up to my celebration here, my 100,000 subscriber celebration. At the beginning of this video, I thanked a ton of people. I don't want to go through all that again and bore the people who have stuck around the whole live stream. But if you want to see that, go to the beginning of the video. Will you try bamboo t-shirts? Ask LV. I probably won't. I might get a bamboo collared shirt. I do have bamboo underwear, which I really like. I used to have merino wool underwear, but I prefer the bamboo underwear. And I really, really like them, actually. So I bought those Caraloha, that brand Caraloha, because it's in a lot of cruise ports, actually. And they're kind of expensive, but I bought 8 pair of them, and I just replaced all my skivvies. It's a Navy term for underwear, skivvies. I replaced all my skivvies with bamboo skivvies. Yeah, they are nice underwear. I really like them. For 100K, we need a belly flop in the fantail pool. Maybe one day. Do you mention in tomorrow's video where skivvies come from? No, I don't talk about skivvies in tomorrow's video. Probably should have. I'll have to do a follow-up to that video because I've been thinking of a lot of nautical terms I did not include in that video. So if that video does well, I will do a follow-up to it. Do you have to pay extra for the wrist medallion? If you want to buy the watch, the armband wrist medallion, you do. It comes with a lanyard, which is also a nautical term, but that's what they call it. It comes with a lanyard, kind of like a cruise card would, that has a little clip in for your medallion. I bought this one that attaches to my Apple Watch. I bought this on Amazon for like $3 or something. You can find them if you just type like Princess medallion watch holder, you'll find this. But they also sell all kinds of accessories for people who like to cruise this cruise line a lot. They have a lot of bling for that. They have like a watch. They have like if you miss the cruise card, they have a cruise card version where you can plug your medallion into the cruise card. They have really nice gold necklaces, that the medallion's in the middle of the gold necklace, or the silver necklace with that. They have bracelets that have the medallion on them. They have a bunch of different kinds of styles of watch band, a sports band, a more fancy band. They have a bunch of different medallion type of holders. They have a clip-on thing. They have a lot of cool medallion bling out there. But I really like the one that just clips onto my normal watch because I don't want to wear two different wristbands. They will do a sail away dance party at 4:15. Are you going to film it? If I have any left in my battery, Life's a Beach, I probably will. Gratuities are included, yes, but the staff usually are exploited and underpaid. Not a misstatement. So any extra money can definitely helps him out, obviously. And I know another reason I tip is because I know how hard it is to live on ships. When you're cruising and you hop on a cruise, the staff is all energetic and things, but that same day they dropped off the previous cruise passengers and they're doing like 12-month contracts on here. And I know what life at sea is like and how arduous it is to have Groundhog Day every day, and that's kind of the life they live. And so I'm a little bit more generous maybe than most people would be. Curious question, since you are cruising, how does Amazon deliver to you? So anytime you pull into a port like this, Amazon has Amazon drop boxes all over the place, and you just put the area code you're going to be in, and you'll see there's actually one over here, I think. There's an Amazon drop box, I think, at the Walmart grocery store, something like that. There's one over there somewhere, real close, within walking distance of here. There's Amazon drop boxes everywhere. And basically what happens is they give you, when it's delivered, they give you a key code for it. And you just go and punch in your key code and go grab your package. It's pretty awesome, actually. Kaylee says, do you keep the medallion as a souvenir? Yeah, I have. I've kept all the different, every time I've sailed Princess, I've moved up a level. So I have all the different colors. I have a blue one. And by the way, they have, so the Princess medallion has your name on it, and then it has the cruise ship you're on and the date you cruised on it. So, and they're also magnets. So yeah, let me take it out of here so you can kind of see it. Ooh, I almost dropped it. So they look like this, and they have your full name on there, and then on the bottom they have the ship you're on. This one says Caribbean Princess, April 1st, 2023, which is your sailing date. And the color of the medallion for free is the color of your loyalty level. So I'm at their second highest, well no, I'm one level from the top loyalty level. So I still have my blue medallion that I got, my gold medallion that I got, my ruby medallion that I got, and this is the platinum medallion. The next one I'll get is Elite, which is black, which will actually be on my next Princess cruise, not on the Caribbean Princess, on the Island Princess. That'll be the first one I get. That's black. I'll be at their highest level, Elite. And on the back of these, it's a magnet. So it'll stick to stuff. Let me show you. You know what? It's fake metal. Here's a bulkhead, by the way. That's what a wall is called. So, is mine dying? You know what? Mine might be dead. Oh yeah, mine's dead. Normally they stick to stuff. Mine might be dead because usually you get a new one on the new cruise you're on. So mine might have lost its, or maybe there's too much paint on that. But it definitely is magnetic because I stuck it to my wall this morning. The bulkhead this morning. That was a bad demonstration. But yeah, so I have all the colors of medallions, and they're collectible, and you can put them on your refrigerator. they'll stick to your refrigerator, I promise you. But you could also customize them, by the way. So if you have your favorite sports team, you can get that on here. Instead of the color, you can get, there's all different kinds of things, mermaids and anything you can think of just about, you can get the bling for it through Princess Cruises. You can get the bling for it, so it's pretty cool. I'm trying to get more sun on my face over here so I'm not so dark. Hey Kevin, brand new subscriber, dreaming of cruising like you. What is your age and how long have you been cruising like this? Asked Rhonda. So I am 47. I'm almost 48. I'll be 48 later this year. I have been cruising full time since January 28th. I was in the US Navy for 20 years, so I did do a lot of cruises in the Navy, much longer than these cruises actually. I actually did, the longest I ever did a cruise for in the Navy was an 11-month cruise on board a frigate. We were in the Abraham Lincoln Battle Group when the Iraq War started. So we got turned around and we stayed out there for 11 months. I almost did 6 months without a port visit, which is really hard on a ship that small. It sucked. But it helped me get promoted really quickly because I got every qual you could get on a ship all the way up to officer of the deck, which was very rare at that time for an E6 to get that was not in navigation department. So I was able to get that. A lot of us did. I had a really generous captain that allowed us to get. Anyway, I don't want to go off on a military tangent. So I've been doing that. I've been traveling full time for 4 years. Every year I travel a different way. This year I'm living on cruise ships. I really like cruising, so I think I'm going to cruise for a little bit longer. And I don't know, maybe I'll live on cruise ships for the rest of my life. Who knows? Who knows? But at some point I'll probably miss van life or some other way of traveling, train life or whatever. But yeah, I've been doing this since, I've been living on cruise ships since 28 January. I've got a whole video, I got a bunch of videos about like how I book cruises, solo cruises for long-term cruise travel. So go check that out. I have a couple videos on my plan to live on cruise ships for a year. Check that out. So yeah. All right, if you have a question and I missed it, please ask it again. Curious question, since you are cruising. Oh, how does Amazon deliver? I answered that one. Congratulations, says Claudia, on 100K. Looks beautiful there. Yeah, this is Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So nowhere like super, super special, but I like Fort Lauderdale. I think it's special. Love the military talk. I'd love to hear a lot more about that sometime. Yeah, check out tomorrow's video. I'm going to talk about nautical. It's tongue-in-cheek. It's 10 nautical terms every cruise ship passenger must know or should know. I kind of say that tongue-in-cheek. You don't have to know them, but it's fun to know them. It's fun to know the terms. And like I said earlier, my bad humor, my bad joke was, watch this video if you want to impress your friends, or better yet, annoy the crap out of them, which is more fun. Watch that video and you can throw all the nautical terms at them like scuttlebutt, gee-dunk, bamboozle, stern, wake, bow wake, all kinds of things like that. Are you scuba qualified? Yes, I am advanced open water PADI scuba dive qualified. I used to live in Hawaii. I lived there 9 years, but I haven't scuba dived since 2004, so I would need to get a refresher for sure. I haven't scuba dived in almost 20 years, but I am advanced open water PADI scuba dive qualified. Wishing everyone who celebrates a peaceful Easter. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah. And happy Seder to you. I don't know if they say happy Seder, but happy Seder to you. And if you didn't know, Andrea is Jewish, so that's why I said happy Seder. And happy Easter, happy Passover to everybody. I love Easter. I'm curious to see what they do on Caribbean Princess for Easter. There's a bunch of people over there waving at me, so I'm assuming they're channel watchers. Hello. Hello. I feel so strange about that. And all the other genres of travel I've done, I never really got recognized because, when you're doing van life travel, you're traveling all over the country, all over the place. When you're doing international travel, it's just international travel. But on cruise ships, you know, the biggest cruise channel is 300,000 and something subscribers. Gary Bainbridge from Travel Tips. So it's not a huge community, and cruise ships are kind of a, you know, it's a contained environment. So I'm getting recognized a lot more than I have on previous ways I've traveled, and it's a little bit strange. It's very humbling, and I'm really appreciative of it, but it's also a little bit strange to me as well. They need to take you drinks for 100K. I don't think Princess knows I hit 100K on Caribbean Princess. I probably should have reached out to them and told them, like, hey, I'm gonna hit 100,000 subscribers, not to get anything from them, but maybe it's something they would be interested in talking about. Because it is kind of cool hitting. I'm glad. I love the other cruise lines I was on. You know, I love Royal Caribbean. I really like MSC. I'm sure I'm gonna love Norwegian, Celebrity, all the other cruise lines. But Princess has a special place in my heart, and I'm really glad that I hit 100,000 subscribers on a Princess ship. I'm really happy about that. Remember, cruise vloggers get a lot of outreach. Yeah, I don't get much outreach. My channel doesn't get a whole lot of views on my cruise videos. I know I say not a whole lot of views. A lot of people would love to get 10,000 views on a video, but that's pretty low for my channel. You know, I have videos with 2 million views, hundreds of thousands of views. My most viewed videos, my top 2 videos last month were not cruise videos. They were old videos I did a long time ago. My Hungarian video is getting a ton of views now. Actually, yesterday I got 20,000 views on that video, and I think it's because they just passed a law that's very controversial. So people are Googling Hungary and finding my video. And my apartment tour in Thailand, one of my apartment tours, those are my top 2 videos for the last 28 days on YouTube. They're not even cruise videos. So my top videos on my channel are still not even cruise videos for the month, even though that's all I'm making now is cruise content. So I don't think I'm on the radar of any cruise lines, to be honest with you. HLT says they need to take me some drinks. Yeah, that would be nice. I saw my first dog on a Princess cruise the other day. It was a little tiny, like, what do they call those dogs? Australian Shepherd. It was so pretty, it was so cute, and the lady was taking it to the spot where it relieves itself, and I should have filmed it, because people are always asking me about animals. I just got my, you only have 20% battery life left, which is still a lot of battery life, so we'll still go a little bit longer, but it probably stopped my video. But yeah, I met a lady with a tiny puppy on here, and it was so cute, and she was taking it to the bathroom, and I hope I find her again, because she is on this cruise, because I would like to interview her about the process for getting her dog on board, and like, I want to go film that area that the dogs relieve themselves in. It was really cool. Won't you miss family and friends after a while? So asked Rachel. So I go and visit my family at least once a year, usually twice a year. I'm flying my mother out to Venice, and we're gonna hang out in Venice for a week, because that's what she wanted to do. That's what she wanted her Christmas present to be. So I'm gonna fly her out to Venice, and we're gonna hang out, and then she's gonna cruise with me for at least 1 cruise, maybe 2 cruises. She doesn't know 2 cruises yet. I'm working on another cruise that she would really, really like, because my mother is super religious, and I found a cruise that takes me to a bunch of, I hope she's not on this live stream. I don't think she is. But I found a cruise that I might be able to squeeze in the schedule that takes us to Nazareth and Jerusalem, which she would really, really love. And so, but I don't know, that isn't 100% yet. So I don't want her to know about that. And even when I do book it, I'm gonna surprise her with it. I hope she's not on this live stream. She definitely ain't gonna watch 3 hours of live streaming, so she won't find this on this cruise, so you better not tell my mom. But I don't think she's on this live stream. Heads up that people like me go back and watch old videos in between new ones. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I asked several cruises, and they do not allow pets, just service dogs. I know you can bring pets on other cruise lines that are not service dogs. This was definitely not a service dog. It's a puppy. definitely wasn't a certified dog yet. It was way too young. It was a tiny little puppy. So it definitely wasn't a service dog. Rachel says, it's a very sweet surprise for your mom. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. You should have filmed the dog. Yeah, I should. I should have filmed the dog pooping. Nothing like poop. You know a nautical term I forgot yesterday to include in my YouTube video was poop deck. That is a nautical term. Poop deck is a nautical term. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna add it to a future video. But putting the word poop deck in the title of my video probably would have got me 1 million views. I know, I always say this, I'm super excited about that video. It was one of the most fun videos I made. I have a feeling it's not gonna get a lot of views because I'm excited about it. Anytime I get excited about a video and I think it's gonna do well, it poops the deck. So, but yeah, poop deck is a nautical term that I definitely am gonna add to the follow-up video to that one. Kevin, here's some information. There will be a concept for a 60,000 passenger cruise ship that is shaped like a turtle. That would be interesting. That would be interesting, Carolina. HOT says, I leave my favorite YouTubers on my TV for replay for my cats. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you. Especially the ones that don't have their watch hours yet. I mean, obviously I have my watch hours. But yeah, that's an awesome thing for you to do and super nice of you. If you find her again, would love to meet the puppy. I 100% for sure will ask her to film next time. Wendy says, watching you, can't wait until we're empty nesters so we can escape. A year on cruise ships, that'd be awesome. There was a dog on my cruise to the Mediterranean. It was princess certified and with her own princess name tag. That's so cool. I've heard about that before. I know Holland America recently recognized a dog that had sailed on Holland America cruises for like 300 cruise days or something like that. Maybe even more than that. Doggy and the poop deck. Make that video. I definitely will. Where are your next ports? Asked Lisa. So we're going to St. Thomas, St. Martin, and St. Thomas, St. Martin, and Princess Cay, Bahamas. Name it something like Cruise Trivia, Instant Viral Hit. That's a good idea. Any pitfalls that a new solo cruiser should avoid? Any pitfalls? I would say as a solo cruiser, don't get too wrapped around the axle about solo supplement and double occupancy. It's not a good indicator of the true cost of a cruise for a solo cruiser. I explained that in depth in a video I have about how to find cheap cruises for solo cruisers, so go check that out if that interests you. I would say that. Number two, if you're not a heavy drinker, don't book drink packages. They're usually not worth it. My math says you need to drink 6 drinks a day to break even. So it's better to just pay for the drinks individually, even though they're expensive. It's better to drink 3 $10 drinks than pay $60 for a drink package in a day and drink 3 drinks. So if you know you're not going to drink 6 drinks a day, but do the math on. How you doing? Oh, hello. How you guys doing? If you do, do the math, because every cruise line is different on how much it costs per drink. And now they do bundles, like Princess is a bundle that includes Wi-Fi, crew appreciation, which is your gratuities. And so it can make sense in certain situations. So do the math. For me, the math still doesn't make sense. I need to do more research on the new packages that Princess has to see if it makes mathematical sense, because I've heard it might make it, because I always get Wi-Fi and I always prepay my gratuities, so maybe it would make sense for me. And it includes foo-foo coffees, and now I can't get a coffee card, so maybe that would make sense for me, but who knows. But yeah, that would be my advice. Hey Kevin, thought on Okinawa. Our new Marine just got orders to Okinawa. I've never lived in Okinawa, but I've heard it's great. I personally love Japan. I didn't travel there in the Navy, That's not true. I went to Atsugi once, but I did go there. I did live a month in Kyoto, Japan, and I loved it. I plan on returning to Japan in the future. I hope to cruise around Japan later on this year. I have to do one of those Japanese. Japan. I haven't booked it yet, but it's on my radar. Thank you, Kaylee, for being an awesome moderator, and all my other moderators. Hey, Apple Gigi's in the house. You're the one that asked that question. Apple Gigi is also an old school subscriber of mine. Thank you for stopping by. Andrea says, can't even trade Elite Minibar for a coffee card anymore. No, that sucks. It makes me cry. Is foo-foo coffee a nautical term? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it is. A lot of my Navy friends, especially Chiefs, give me a lot of crap for drinking foo-foo coffee because Chiefs are supposed to drink straight black coffee that looks like sludge. Not me. I love my foo-foo coffee. And they had foo-foo coffee in the Chiefs mess on board ships. They always had French vanilla and hazelnut. They always had those creamers on board a Navy ship. And now the aircraft carriers have like little Starbucks. They have Starbucks on board. The smaller ships, not so much, but the bigger aircraft carriers, they have a little coffee lounge place for the crew, which is great. It's a great, quality of life thing. My Boston friends call it frou-frou coffee as well. Yeah, I say foo-foo. Frou-frou, I guess, would be the same. I don't even know what that's short for. What is that for? Fruity, I guess? I don't know. I don't even know what frou-frou means. It's a trademark term. Interested to know. Question, you keeping up with the Russos? Yeah, I go back and forth. For those who don't know, Keeping Up with the Russos, actually I should have mentioned them earlier. Keeping Up with the Russos is another YouTube channel I love. They just went on a cruise, which is awesome. They were one of the first van life channels I found, and we struck up a friendship. When they went over to Thailand, they reached out to me to ask me some questions about Thailand. And now we just go back and forth on Instagram, private messenger, and they've become good friends. I met them in person. I was a big fanboy of theirs. I met them in person before they knew who I was. I was a big fanboy. I read his book, Taking Risks, I think, or Taking Chances. I read his book before I decided to travel full time. They're one of the inspirations for me starting a YouTube channel. And I read his book and I started traveling full time, and then I bought a van. They were in a Heimer Active van, and that was a van I loved in the beginning. So check out their YouTube channel. They don't need my help. They have a huge YouTube channel. But We're the Russos. I keep up on them. We just chatted back and forth a couple days ago. They were asking me when I was going to take my transatlantic cruise. They're on a transatlantic cruise right now, making all kinds of good YouTube content about it. Andrea says Lavazza coffee is going on Princess. I can't wait. I've never had it before, but it sounds fancy. Frou-frou or frou-frou is showy or fancy. Yeah, that's good to know. Do you have any merch? I used to have merch, and Elvie used to have one of my shirts. She might still have it, one of my van life shirts, and I wasn't happy with the quality of them, so I quit selling merch. I might start selling some merch in the future. Like, I thought about all these nautical terms that are going to be in tomorrow's video. I thought about doing shirts that have like certain nautical terms in them that are related to cruising. I thought that might be fun, and it'll just be writing. It won't be any images. Maybe it'll be a little writing, and it'll have nothing about 30 to wake up on it, but I thought that might be fun to do. And maybe I'll do something like Emma Cruises did, where she donated the money to charity or something like that. I thought about doing something like that. There's Rear of the Russos. I love Rear of the Russos. I wish Kaylee had a YouTube channel, was making YouTube videos. I would love to watch Kaylee make some videos. McKenna says, "Oh, here we go." I don't know what that meant. Here we go on the merchandise. I used to have merch. I used to have T-shirts, and I spent a lot of money actually on you see the channel logos or the channel membership logos next to some people's name. That means they're a channel member. They're different colors. I spent like $5,000 on T-shirt designs. I figured if I was going to do it, I was going to do stuff. I spent over $5,000 on T-shirt designs, those membership logos, some of the emojis. I spent way too much. And the t-shirt stuff, the t-shirts just weren't good enough quality, printing the logos. And it was a lesson learned for me. Maybe if I could find better quality t-shirt manufacturers, I could do that. But yeah, the t-shirt quality wasn't very good. So yeah, LV just splashed a bunch of those. You'll see some of the logos on the far right of her splash. Those actually are really cool logos, but on the t-shirts, they faded. And I just didn't want my audience purchasing stuff. I did it at basically cost. I wasn't really making any money off of it, but I didn't want my audience purchasing poor quality stuff. So I quit doing that. I quit selling that stuff. 2 questions. Do you end up paying a lot of extra fees at the end of the cruise? And are you able to find quiet areas? Yeah, I'm always able to find quiet areas on cruise ships. I get up early in the morning. I'm a morning riser, and I go to bed pretty early at night. Usually I'm in bed by 9 p.m. I know, man. I'm like an 80-year-old man. Not that all 80-year-old men are like me, but I get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and go to bed at like 9. I eat early. I like to eat at like 5 o'clock. I'm like an old man. And I'm always able to find quiet areas. I mean, look right now. The cruise ship is full of people. And look at this area I'm at right here. Nobody's here. And this is like prime real estate, in my opinion. Look across the way. That's the exact copy of the area I'm sitting on. Everyone's by the pool. And look, it's complete. There's nobody there. Anybody can sit there. I'm all by myself here. And it's not because I'm live streaming. The other side is the exact same way. Look at this. Look at this view. Lunch. Where you get your food, the buffet is right there. You could walk with your food out here, sit here and enjoy this view. People don't take advantage of these kind of areas on board cruise ships. So you're able to come to an area like this and hang out and just relax. Like, look, these guys are right here. Look, these are some of the people that actually like my YouTube. Oh, look, he's watching my YouTube channel. Oh no, he sees me. But yeah, all those seats left there at that little bar area. You guys are okay with being in the video, right? Okay. Look at that. Look at all those bar stools. Hello. How are you guys doing? Doing great? I'm telling them how easy it is to get great seats. And I was like, look. Yeah. Awesome. They got the bar. The bar's right there. They can, get a drink, get a margarita. So yeah, to answer your question, you can find quiet areas. What was the other part of your question? There was more to that. Oh, HLT just upgraded their membership to Superfan. Thank you very much, HLT. I appreciate that. I have 3 different levels of memberships, and basically they all get the same thing, so I feel a little bit bad about that, and I'm gonna try to give more stuff in the future. I just gotta figure out what that is. How big is your entourage? I'm just me. I travel solo. I did post in, every cruise has a Facebook page usually associated with it. So there'll be a Facebook page, someone will make it. It's usually the name of your ship. So like this one's Caribbean Princess. If you type in Caribbean Princess, what's today, 8 March, it'll show this sailing date, and there'll be a Facebook group you can join, and it usually has hundreds and sometimes thousands of people in it, and so you can connect with people before the cruise. That's how I met Andrea, who's on here. And a lot of the people, I posted in there that I was gonna be doing a live stream, so a lot of these people might not even follow my channel. They just saw me on there. What was the rest of that question earlier? 2 questions. Did you end up paying a lot of, do I end up paying a lot of extra fees? So normally I don't. On Princess Cruises, I get a lot of onboard credit, which is great. If you own the stock for Princess, which is Carnival stock, you get onboard credit on all of Carnival's cruise lines. Carnival, Holland America, Princess, you get onboard credit for being a shareholder. The stock is only like $9 a share right now, so you could buy 100 shares, which is what you need, for $900. Every 14-day cruise, you get $250 onboard credit. So after 4 14-day cruises, or 8 7-day cruises, you would make your money back and still own the shares of stock, still have the money that you invested, and maybe it goes up, maybe it goes down, who knows? I'm not giving you investment advice, but you can make that money back pretty quickly. So I get $250 onboard credit for almost every Princess cruise I do. I'm retired military, so they also give me $250 onboard credit for that. Every time I'm on Princess Cruises, I buy future cruise credits. So you give them $100, and what you get in exchange for that is $100 off the next cruise you book. So you get that $100 back right away. Sorry, it says I got 10% battery left. But you get onboard credit, or no, I'm sorry, you give $100 for a future cruise credit. You get $100 off your next cruise, so you get the $100 back. And then you get onboard credit up to $150. So on this cruise, I got $125. So I got $250 for being a shareholder, $250 for being in the military, and $125 for future cruise credit. So there's $625 right there. I also, when I booked this cruise, they had a special promotion where I got $100, no, it was $200 onboard credit for this cruise. So I got another $200 onboard credit. So I have $850 onboard credit. And that can be used for anything: internet, foo-foo coffees, excursions, specialty dining, whatever you can think of, it can be used for onboard. So on Princess Cruises, I almost never have any extra spending. My onboard credit covers just about everything. So it's a very nice perk. On other ships, I have ended up having extra money that I pay. Like on Princess, I think I paid at the end, I'm gonna give you a daily rate. I would say I paid an extra $10 to $15 a day because I get onboard internet, and so I am right by the kids area. That's why you're hearing that. So right up here, not an outdoor water park area. This one does, Caribbean Princess. 90% of them do not, and all the kids are playing up there in the water, jumping around in the water and all that stuff. So that's why you hear kids screaming, because they're living La Vida Loca. They're living their best life on the cruise. Good for them. They're jumping in the little dip pool that they have there and doing the things kids do. I think I just got a new channel member, Terry. Terry, thank you for becoming a channel member. What do you think of all the electronic Volkswagen bus? That would be good van contact. Yeah, I think that would be amazing to get one of those Volkswagen buses. If you give more stuff higher levels, I'd upgrade, but I really only joined to be number 69, so I wanted, so I already got the thing I wanted. I think, yeah, you were number 69, I remember that. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I don't know what, I'm revamping my membership level stuff. I actually need to shoot a new video for that as well. But yeah, I'm revamping that. So at some point I will have that. Gary says, Pep, if you guys don't know, a lot of people in Europe think I look like Pep Guardiola, who is the coach for Manchester City Soccer Club. That's why he called me Pep. Pep just finished watching Man City versus Southampton. There we go. I'll be in Southampton pretty soon, by the way. I'll be in Southampton sometime in late June, I think. And then I'll be sailing out of Southampton for, a ton of cruises. Like 5 cruises. So I'll be in Southampton. Maybe I'll go catch a match if they're going on during that time. I don't know if they're going on that time. Perry's been a long-time subscriber, by the way. Thanks, Perry Cooper, for being such a long-time subscriber. And thank you for the congratulations. I used to eat eggs on ketchup, anything to not taste eggs. Yeah, I posted, if you guys don't follow my Instagram, you can find a link for it on my YouTube channel. I just redid that. I took that off for a little while when I was sick, and I went through a sickness 6 months. I got treated for cancer, but I'm good now. I'm 100% in the clear. It was a very curable kind of cancer, and I just turned it off here, but now I'm back. Yeah, you can connect to my Instagram. It's also 30 and Wake Up. So I think I'm running out of battery. So as much as I don't want to end this live stream, I'm having so much fun with you guys. I'm super sorry, but I have to end this live stream. Thank you, everyone. All the people who joined as channel members, all the people that showed up for the celebration, all the people that popped in here today to say congrats for 100K. Jen and Tommy are still in here. Go check out their YouTube channel. I couldn't have done this without you. And you know, so many of you have stuck with me for so long that are in this live chat. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you very much for coming and spending time and joining me on this 4